following episode was recorded from International Fight Week in Las Vegas, September 21. We wish to thank our friends and sponsors at the MGM Park and Nomad Hotels, David Weiss, Mark and Johnny Houston, and the staff at On the Record. Much gratitude to our guests and friends at the UFC.
All right, and we are back. And we've got the Schmo in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having the Schmo. It's Fight Week, UFC 266, and I feel some Al Capone vibes in this room right now. Speakeasy stuff.
Yes, we are here at On the Record inside of Park MGM. Speaking of podcasts, you have a new podcast coming out, right? With Triple C, Henry Cejudo.
I guess the Schmo's breaking the news on your podcast that we're doing this podcast.
There we go.
But after UFC 266 Monday, we're going to have our own reaction type show, the Triple C and the Schmo show. We're going to be in full character. The Schmo's always in character, but Triple C, the king of cringe, he's going to come out there 15, 20 minutes. It's going to be different. We're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. It's going to be a nice hybrid of entertainment and informative knowledge.
Nice, and that's going to be called the Triple C and the Schmo Show, so be sure to check that out.
So outside of the Schmo, who else is there? You're talking about in character. I mean, I didn't know there was anybody else behind the Schmo other than the Schmo.
Oh, it's just the Schmo. But behind the Schmo, influences of Harry Carey, the Schmo's a Chicago guy.
Right.
Craig Sager meets Rodney Nate Dangerfield. Sports first, comedy second. You know, nobody gave Dave Schmolenson the chance, so the Schmo was born. You know, it started as a mockery out of the whole sports journalism scene, but it turned into a real life thing.
Where does Dave end and the Schmo begins?
As soon as the glasses come on, that's where Dave ends and the Schmo begins.
There we go.
Do you ever have sex as the Schmo?
One time.
One time?
Freaking it. Awkward.
How did that go?
Awkward.
So when did the Schmo, like, how did you say, like, hey, when was the Schmo born, is what I should say.
2015, the Schmo was working for USA Today. You know, working his way, trying to be a traditional sports reporter. And we saw that all these athletes get the same generic questions. Oh, you just won the Super Bowl. How does it feel? You know, how does it feel? You get the same generic questions when someone wins a game or someone wins a fight. You know what they're going to say.
It'd be sick if somebody said it feels like shit. And they're like, excuse me, I don't understand. And they're like, you understand. I've been working my whole life to get here. I got here. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do tomorrow. This shit sucks. Straight up sucks.
At some point, Tom Brady's got to say that, though, right, man? When he gets to the eighth?
He's just like, look, I left it all out here. There's nothing left. What the fuck do you want from me?
So 2015, the Schmo was born, and you're everywhere now. You're not just an MMA anymore. You are covering every sport now.
All sports.
Yeah.
All sports. Obviously, the Schmo's got a big home in combat sports and boxing and MMA, but the NFL, the Raiders are here. We anticipated this. NBA, NHL, you name it, Major League Baseball. Not much of a golf guy, but a lot of good celebrities and athletes do play golf.
Yeah.
Yo, you should have covered us at Top Golf last night.
Yeah, we were at Top Golf last night.
Yo, we were fucking. We were
Rob was killing it.
I heard O'Neal, you're having trouble getting him off the green, man. He was chasing balls out there.
I think he was chasing balls in his head.
Pause.
I think he was tripping balls.
Pause. Yeah, no, we had a good time last night. We got out there and got our Tiger hood on.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So tell us, you're covering the fights this weekend. There's a lot going on this week. We got the Hall of Fame ceremony. We got the fights. We got the Fan Expo. Is the International Fight Week your favorite week of the year covering sports?
I mean, listen, maybe one of the top favorite weeks, Super Bowl Radio Row. Everybody comes there too. MMA fighters, that's where you get the most collective juices of all the athletes right there in one center area. But this is right up there, man. But what makes this week so much more special than anything else? Nick Diaz is returning to the fight scene, man.
Sick, man.
How many years has it been? And Robbie Lawler,
6.5.
Oh my!
It's fucking awesome. Honestly, that was the thing
17
for
years
me.
since the original
There are a
time
lot
they
of reasons
fought.
I came Fight Week 2 years ago with Shawn and Tony Ferguson. It was a fun time, but like, you know, I was like, oh, all right, yeah, we could go do this, we could do this, but the fact Nick was fighting, I'm like, fuck yeah, man, I want to go see that. You know, that's special, man.
It's gonna be cool, and it's cool because you know the last international fight was 2 years ago. You know, last year was a break. This year it got pushed back. It's normally 4th of July weekend. You know, here we are in September. It feels good to finally see everyone again and be out there and, you know, see International Fight Week come back, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Diaz is your favorite fighter's favorite fighter.
Exactly.
And the other week,
Dude, he was my favorite fighter, man.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw Nick Diaz fight was on like a strike force. I came in and he was beating the shit out of Shamrock. And he was like, just punch him in the face and talking shit, like, fuck you, boom. Like, saying all shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, I love this fucking guy. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Back then, I wasn't really that into the sport, so it was pretty dope.
So tell us, how did the Triple C and the Schmo show, how did that come together?
Well, listen, I think a network like ESPN's whiffed tremendously in not accepting a Triple C to be their on-camera talent, man. Look at the accolades. You can argue that he's the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. He's the only guy with an Olympic gold medal and a
Three
champ
titles. He's the Triple C.
And he built this character, and he's charismatic on the mic, and I have a great rapport with him, and it's just been a long time in the making, and here we go.
I think a lot of guys. I think it's going to become more of a pattern of guys succeeding and then dipping out before it's too late for them. You know, could be. You know what I mean? Guys just going like, I did it. I got the brass ring.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good to go, man. You know what I mean? Because it's not a fucking long term, you know, game plan. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Nobody knows what the shit's gonna feel like in 30 years. It's a new sport. You know?
You're only as good as your next fight.
Yeah.
So growing up, did you always want to be a media personality? Did you always think you're going to be one of the biggest reporters in sports?
Not at all. The Schmo's childhood dream was to be a professional basketball player. And at 16 years old, when realized a 6-foot white boy, nothing with limited heights, was not going to make it to the next step, the next best thing to do would be talking about sports.
Right.
So I grew up outside of Chicago. Michael Jordan, the legend, favorite athlete all time growing up. So, well, I would say the biggest break happened when I asked Dana White that 165-pound weight division question. UFC 236 press conference. That was it. I mean, the Schmo was grinding.
Yes.
Wait, what did you ask him? What was the question?
Why can't we create a 165-pound weight division? I mean, there's all the best fighters, it seems like, are all 155 or 170.
Yes.
You get those guys floating in between the two. Why is there a 15-pound age gap between where you get such a high concentrate of high-quality fighters?
And what did Dana say?
Well, they're locked into contracts, you know, at least till 2025. And then my response to Schmo's young, we can wait. And hey, what are we, 2021 going on 2022? We're only 4 years away.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, man. Now
Good
you're, I mean, literally the top, I would say you've become the top media personality, definitely in MMA. Yeah, just seeing how rapidly your growth has been in this industry is pretty crazy. I mean, considering that Ariel's been doing this forever. I mean, he's been doing it since like 2000, and here you burst on the scene in 5 years, you're everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, this kid's a vibe, man. You got a good vibe, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know Ariel.
He's a very
I'm sure he's a
likable
great
guy
dude.
too. Yeah, exactly.
But Ariel's not. You know, Ariel's a little straight down
He
the
doesn't have
pipe.
the-
You know what I
the
mean?
charisma
Yeah,
that
like
the
you're
Schmo
like,
has.
you know what I mean? Like we could throw you in a fucking TV show. You know, you'd be funny as shit. You know.
Have you thought about doing any acting?
100%.
Yeah?
Everything the Schmo does is improv. We love that stuff, man.
That's
We love
great.
that stuff.
There we go. Rob Weiss's
Yeah,
next
but
show.
I'm not letting you improv, bro. You got to fucking read lines, motherfucker.
Listen, Rob, you take the
going
Schmo under your wing, go read every single line you want, all right?
Yeah, I'll take you under my wing if I get a pair of them fucking custom kicks you got with the Schmo on them.
Yeah, I love
Schmo sneaks?
Do you have a
Schmo
team
shoes?
that does all the merch, or are these just diehard fans?
This is diehard fans.
That's
The Schmo's got a
awesome.
tiny team. If the Schmo had some muscle behind him, like some of these other journalists, we'd be off the roof over here. Right?
Yo, if I
We'd be
had
off
some
the
muscle
record.
behind
On
me,
the record,
if I had some muscle behind me, I can make something out of my life too, man. You know what I mean?
I hear
Like
you.
I've
I
been
hear
just
you.
saying the same shit about myself, bro.
Wait, we gotta eat what we kill, you know.
You know what you should
That's
do is
true,
definitely
too.
That's
start
true.
a Schmo merch line.
We do Schmo
Okay,
merch.
good.
I have these glasses. These are custom Schmo merch glasses.
I
do
wanna
I'd
care
wear
about
those,
these.
man.
I wear those.
How long have you and Helen been working together? Because you guys are a dynamic duo in the industry.
Yeah, we met on scene. I believe it was a Manny Pacquiao fight.
That's
I'm trying to remember Adrian Broner a couple of years ago.
Wow.
We were just showing up at all these same events: the Bellator fights, the boxing fights, the UFC events, and finally we just went out for drinks, and the rest is history.
That's awesome.
So also we have we had the CEO of Muscle Farm, Ryan Drexler. He said he knows you. We told him you were coming on. Then he brought on TJ Dillashaw, and we told like I said, we told Ryan you were coming on, and he was like ask him about the TJ leg kick.
The irony behind all of this stuff, too, and I believe TJ and Triple C, former opponents as well, too. The
Right.
irony behind all this, TJ Dillashaw is the first UFC fighter the Schmo ever interviewed. All right, so Ryan, he brings us in, allows us to do
This
this
is Muscle
Schmo
Farm in
versus
LA?
the Pro in the
Right.
Muscle Farm in Los Angeles, where I compete against TJ Dillashaw. I got to get him ready for his fight. I believe it was the second fight against Cody Garbrandt. Okay, it was the
Right.
second one right
Right.
there. So he brings the Schmo into Muscle Farm. We do everything. We do wrestling drills. We're doing the footwork and everything. And then he's got the great idea to take a leg kick from this man, TJ Dillashaw.
Oh,
now,
it was Ryan's idea.
it was Ryan's idea. We'll give it to him.
Oh, shit.
And the immortal Matt
Okay.
Brown was there
The
too. I
truth
mean,
comes
they were
out.
both watching. Now, TJ gives the Schmo a leg kick.
But you were prior to this. Have you been training?
The Schmo doesn't give away all the secrets.
No, but I'm saying, are you like?
Well, take
are
a
you a
look for
martial
yourself.
artist?
Well, the
no,
Schmo-
you're in great shape, buddy. I get it. But I'm saying, I don't know what you do.
The Schmo's a schmathlete. We're
Okay.
schmathlete.
A schmathlete.
Hashtag
So listen,
schmathlete.
we believe we can hold around the Schmo versus the Pro. You want to talk about a show for television, the Schmo versus the Pro. Going into the gyms of athletes all over the country, different sports. Let's see if the Schmo can hang. That's an idea.
I love it. I love
Try
it.
to
All
pitch
right,
that.
so back it up. Somebody says take a leg kick.
He says take a leg kick. So I take this leg kick. But the thing is, TJ Dillashaw, phenomenal shape. But he's also a little bit shorter than a Schmo. So the target's a little bit different there. Now, if the Schmo were to ever get inside the octagon, there aren't many bantamweights that are about 6 feet tall. There's only one that comes into mind, and that's Shawn O'Malley. And the Schmo's still a little bit taller than him. Now, he takes this leg kick, he swings, and he misses. Just a little bit. Right on the meniscus. 2 tears of meniscus, a medial and a lateral. But we can't just blame TJ. The Schmo's a triathlete too. We've done a lot of running, biking, cycling, a lot of miles on these knees. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah, we got PRP treatment.
Yeah, we
after
can't
that.
blame TJ. We can blame Ryan, though.
Yeah, we can blame Ryan.
It was his idea. That's what we can blame.
Ryan got you fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, that's a crazy
That's
story.
great, that's great.
That's hilarious. Schmo, thank you so much for hanging out with us
Yes,
today.
brother.
Everyone, be sure to check out the Triple C and the Schmo show starting Monday. It's going to be fun, man. I'll be tuning in, so I hope
Hell
everyone
yeah,
else
I'll
is
watch
tuning
that
in
shit too.
Yeah, me too.
All-
How you been, brother? How's everything?
It's good, man. Just doing my daddy daycare thing right now, real quick. But
Oh, hell yeah.
I love it. I love it. You're in Florida, right? Miami?
yes, sir.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yo,
Yeah, you know, the coolest thing, man, something I want to really talk to you about, you've had one of the smoothest transitions from, you know, champion caliber fighter to post-fight career. You know, like everyone's always kind of lost when they're making that transition, and you did it seamlessly. I mean, you're in AEW, you're doing movies, you're an analyst, you're doing it, you're doing everything.
Well, I did a couple movies while I was acting, but I really started to make a concerted effort to really put my attention in that department. Like once I started to, you know, taper out from fighting, and really now that I'm not fighting anymore, I'm kind of looking for something to give me that excitement, because there's
Right.
nothing like being on a movie set. Like we were talking about, you know what I'm saying? You can know your lines, but when that camera come on, you're
Right.
just like, oh, you know, there's always that little quick little, all right, do I got the right sound? Do I got the, you know?
yeah.
Right.
It's the jitters,
It
man.
it's the jitters.
Yeah.
It's
So,
the-
so what
That'll
you're
never
saying
go
is
away.
that's the jitters are pretty addictive, right? Do you think the adrenaline, the rush of the charge of the adrenaline and fighting was a big part of the game for you?
It was like a roller coaster ride, you know, a roller coaster ride of emotions. Like you'll come in and you'll be like mentally like, okay, I'm ready to kill this dude, and then, you know, you'll have the moment of doubt come into your mind, and then you're just like, oh man, what, you know, then you start thinking, you know, your mind starts playing the getting the better of you, and then you're
Right.
just like, you know what, I'm trained, I'm ready for this, you know. And then once you start falling back on your train and start remembering that you're good, then you start to feel that way. But there's a lot of times where I'll take that mark to walk, and I'm just like, I'm just not ready to walk. And they're like, all right, Rashad, all right, baby, it's time to roll. You on the line. I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking at the guy pounding a beer, and he looks like he's having a great time. I'm just like, oh my God.
Don't you think
What
that
am I
self?
doing? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah. Have your kids ever seen your fights?
Yeah, they seen
So-
the good, bad, and ugly.
So I know when you tell them it's time to go to bed, they're running, because I know if you were my dad and you was like, okay, turn that shit off and it's time to go to bed, they're out.
Well, you know, here's the thing about it. That's how I would think, you know, but these kids, man, they test me.
No, my kid too. O'Neal's kids also. You know, I mean, he's got
Yeah.
daughters. You know, he can't do anything.
Yeah,
wrong,
no, I
man.
got,
Oh, yeah.
I got
If you-
two girls.
Yeah, if you got
Oh,
boys,
you-
if you got boys, you know, man, they push, man.
Yeah.
I got a 5-year-old. He's just like, you're not gonna do that. He'll say it to me all the time. I'll be like, listen, this is what's gonna happen. These are gonna be the consequences. It's not gonna be any consequences. Dad. Dad, come on.
My kids know that I fight, and they know about, you know, Rashad Evans, stuff like that, but they never see me like that, you know. So for them, they can't even foresee me even being that kind of way. So for
Yeah,
them, it's just
they don't
like,
see the danger. They just see daddy.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, that's all-
Daddy ain't
I see.
dangerous. Daddy's daddy.
Yep.
You know, you
That's
said
how they
something
see.
about the doubt, right? I mean, not necessarily doubt. That's my word. But when you're heading into the octagon and you do have those like existential, in a way, I guess, kind of thoughts like, am I ready for this? Is this who I am tonight? Is this what I want to be? This question's in two parts, right? I would imagine that self-doubt in everything. Like, I'm a writer, film, director, producer, tons of self-doubt, particularly when I was younger. Get older, it gets a little bit easier, obviously. But how prevalent is that? Like, I know that was your experience at times walking in. Am I ready for this? Do I really want to do this? How many other guys, the guys that you're across the octagon from, you think are having the same exact fucking feeling when they're looking at you?
99% of them. There's a small select few who's not really bothered by it. Who's kind of like really sick in their mind and really don't really think about all.
Or they're just like void. Like, I mean, one of the guys I used to fucking love was Fedor, man. You're not upsetting that guy with anything. Like, that guy, he's
unshakable.
He's just like, that guy was just like this, man. He's just fucking blank. The other thing I would say to you is that, fuck, man, I got to try to dig deep and remember the second part of my question. I might have to come back. We might have to come back to
air, it's the
No,
the
I
desert
had
heat.
it. It was in two parts, but I know what it was now. When you said that, you're like, am I getting ready to go in there and kill this guy? I think the part of the evolution of the game that's come since you were champ is all the fucking hype, right? Is the marketing machine of it all. I hate this motherfucker. Like, people will coordinate getting in beefs in restaurants to sell a fucking fight. Back when you guys were fighting, I remember watching you and Chuck fight. The shit seemed super, super organic. How much of it is emotional in a way where you go, like, yo, that's cute, man.
He's
so cute.
Oh my God.
Cute.
Go on with your questions.
No, I was saying, how much of it, how often would you legitimately dislike somebody back in the day versus how many times you get knocked out and go, I fuck, well, I don't want to curse a funny kid, but I F-U-C-K with this guy. I like this person, but you still have to try to trick
job.
your mind.
Yeah.
How do you separate the emotion from just the, just the business at hand?
Yeah.
It is very important to
at
separate it's very important to separate the emotion from it, because I've been in fights where, with Rampage and with John Jones and Tito Ortiz and, even with Michael Bisping, we had like a little back and forth. And if you don't watch how you're handling that energy can be very heavy and cumbersome when it comes time to the fight, because when you get into the octagon, it's actually a divorce of emotions that's going to allow you to perform at your best. Because if I'm thinking in a way that I'm emotional, then that means I'm thinking, and when you're thinking in a fight, that's the wrong place to be thinking. You just want to be very reactive. You want to keep yourself reactive. You want to keep yourself in training mode, so you kind of want to make it not personal. And if I'm thinking in a personal way, if I'm really, really, tapped into that emotional side, then when he hits me with a combination or hits me with a good punch and then the crowd reacts, then I may not respond the right way with a good technique. I may just respond with ill timing and serve myself up on a platter.
Right.
Case in point, when I fought Machida, he beat me the first round, and I'm the champion. I'm just like, yo, this dude beat me the first round. I'm undefeated. He don't know who he messed with. He must not have got the script. He must not understand that I'm supposed to win this fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So he caught me in the second round, and my refusal of just not making the adjustments, not believing what was happening, it allowed me to get caught and get knocked out in that fight. So being able to control your emotions is the absolute key, and that's where the true art form of trash talking and shit talking comes into play, is when you could make a big fuss, get your guy all lathered up, get him mad, and then turn around and smile and just be completely don't feel anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's what Conor McGregor is really good at doing, getting under people's skin and just kind of like, bothering them, but at the same time being unmoved underneath that,
Yeah,
So,
but he gets under his own skin, man.
Recently.
I mean,
recently, because now
he put himself on blast at the end of last fight. He was just he was just ripping anything that came out of him. He's like, "Fuck, am I saying that? I can't believe I'm saying this shit." He just lost like all control.
He had an out-of-body experience.
He did.
He had
That's
out-of-body
exactly what it was.
experience.
That's exactly what it was.
So do you ever walk in the ring and you look at your opponent and you're like, this is a good guy, but I gotta fucking smash his face in? Like, do you ever think like that? Like, this dude, and are you friends with people that you've beaten?
Yeah, one of my good friends, Keith Jardine, Me and this dude were
Dean
so
of Mean.
close. The Dean of Mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The Dean of
Yo,
Mean.
he does a little bit of acting. Every once in a
Yeah.
while, I see him show up in something, and I'm like, yo, that guy's always a spooky motherfucker, man.
Yeah, he's still scary as hell looking.
Yeah.
But with Keith, Keith, me and him was on the Ultimate Fighter show together, and at the time, my MMA wasn't on the level of his was because I didn't have Greg Jackson, so I was trained out of a small camp in Michigan, and so I was pretty much learning on the job, and me and Keith were on the same team, but Keith was actually showing me technique, show me this, show me that, and that's pretty much unheard of when you're on the show because it's like every man for himself.
Gotcha.
So not only was he my teammate on the show, like a moral support, but he was actually like one of my coaches on the show, teaching me everything. And then I had to turn around and fight him in the semis.
Wow.
So it was really hard to do because it was like, and then here's the thing about it, like when you're on one of those reality shows, it's weird how close you get with people. And I think it's mainly because of the fact of, you don't have your normal coping mechanisms that you do when you're at home.
Yeah.
So you start to lean on these people a lot more and your guard is down. And then you start to really see what each other, what's really underneath it all. So that was the hardest part for me, being able to, having to fight him and then turn around and be like, all right, we're boys. But
that's tough.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's kind of hard to look at somebody after you whip their ass, and then after this, let's go get a drink. He's like, dude, you just stomped my face in.
But aren't you
but
did
you
you
know
and
what? I would say,
Rampage
yo,
become
just-
cool over the years after the fight and everything?
yeah, me and Rampage became cool after the fight.
Yeah, because I've seen you guys do some
over the
funny
years.
videos. Yeah, and I remember that was the best season of Ultimate Fighter ever, man. You guys,
Yeah,
that was the best.
We did a movie together in Atlanta, Boss Level, and that's where
cool.
we really started.
Man,
You know what? I was
funny.
gonna say, and I think this is a little bit different than sisterhoods versus brotherhoods, right? Guys, you will meet guys all the time. You'll be like, "Yo, how'd you guys become homies?" They'll be like, "Yo, we got in a beef, we squashed it."
Yeah.
And you realize that really you're just fighting yourself.
Yeah.
It's like
There
some guys.
becomes a respect
I became
afterward, yeah.
boys with some dude right at the Marmont during the pandemic. He was like, "Man, I heard you talking at that table." I'm like, "This guy's a fucking asshole." And then he goes, "But then I realized." You just sound like me, and I'm a fucking asshole.
And I was just hating.
And I
Yeah.
was like, and it's like, yo, homie, and it's like, it's just a weird thing with dudes that you can fight
And
and
be
then
friends.
have respect
Of course.
and form a friendship.
Men are more combative, we tend to,
Well,
it's
you
always
flex
like
more, man.
Yeah,
More
so-
tests.
But I mean, to your point, I don't think Misha Tate and Ronda Rousey will ever be friends.
No, I don't think so either. I
Ever.
was
You
going to
know
bring
what
that
I'm
up.
saying?
Actually, you beat me
Ever.
to it. I love
Not
it.
in this lifetime.
Yeah, that was a legitimate beef.
So you're talking about doing movies, and you've done some movies and stuff like. So, what's your dream role, or your who would you like to be in a movie with? You like, you know what? If I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it real, I want to be in a scene with this guy, this girl in a big movie. Who would it be?
Oh man, who would it be, man? I mean, that would be. There's so many great actors and actresses that I really like, but I mean, if I'm thinking about who I grew up watching, it's got to be Denzel.
I
It's
knew
gotta
you were going to
be-
say yes.
It's got to be Denzel because I mean, Denzel is like, I made a lot of these like Hollywood people, but Denzel was probably like the only one I really met that I was like, damn, he's still Denzel.
Yeah.
You know how
Oh,
you
yeah.
meet some people
Yeah.
and then not who you think they are?
Yeah.
But he was still Denzel. I'm
Yep.
like, dang,
That's
still
awesome.
cool. I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
But I would rather I want a movie that I can actually act in.
Act
really
in,
act.
right. I was
Yeah.
going to say that, yeah.
You know, what I mean, I'm always playing like a tough guy, always beating somebody's ass or getting my ass beat. I want to be, I want to actually,
You
I
want
want
to
to
flex
actually,
the acting chops, yeah.
yeah,
Show them what you got.
I want to cry in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, man, you're not going to know what you really got until you test it, right? So you
Right.
can apply the same thing from the fight game into acting. You have to you have to be able to push it to grow.
All I
and
know
to
is
see
you're
what you got
getting
inside.
more roles right now than most athletes do when they cross over. So you're already on your way, man. I think like in sometime we're gonna see the headline in Variety: Rashad Evans gets supporting role in Denzel film.
Oh,
and
man, dude,
we're gonna call you and be like,
Hopefully,
bro,
man.
you manifested it.
Yes.
Hey, I'm gonna keep working it. And here's the thing about it: I don't mind doing the runt work. I don't mind working, the movies that are just kind of
Right,
not
putting in
really
the hours. Right.
I want to put in the
you something.
time. I want to I want to be around the great actors. Great.
Well,
I
there
wanna
you go.
just watch
Rob,
how they
I'm
work.
gonna
Bryce just
write
said it
you
himself. He's
something
gonna
where you
write
cry.
something in his next show.
I'm gonna write you something where you cry, even if it's just like in the background of somebody else's scene.
He's just gonna be crying for no reason.
On screen, crying, man.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yo, real quick, and then we'll let you go because we know you got daddy duties. Just in terms of, again, you're not the original first run of the UFC, but you are in the legendary portion.
Rashad was the first real athlete.
But
to
he was
come
also,
into the MMA.
but his era is the era where people start to go like, huh, and
Yeah,
really come
you
to
saw-
it.
you
It's
saw
when
athletes-
we put Liddell on Entourage. It was around that time where it was starting to go mainstream, and you were one of the now legends, but at the time one of the faces of that. How have you seen the game change for better, and how have you seen it change for worse?
Good
And
question.
not necessarily UFC, but
Yeah.
overall
Just
the
the
culture
game in
and the
general.
sport, the MMA.
Yeah. I've seen it change for better with just like the overall notoriety of it. You know,
Right.
the sport is on another
Mainstream,
level with the
yep.
popularity level. And also, with the pay, I mean, we're still not where we could or should be,
Right.
but we have made tremendous progress,
Right.
compared to how it was. I mean, back in the day, we're lucky to get, over $1 million for one pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? But now those guys that are like at the top, they're consistently getting, 3, 4, they're getting a few $1 million,
Right.
just to fight. So that's cool. I mean, it shows that, the sport is moving in the right
It's
direction
evolving,
when it
right.
comes to, evening out the compensation. There's still a lot that needs to happen still. But I mean, how long did it take baseball? How long did
Of
it
course.
take football, the other big 3 sports to get
Right.
to where they are right now
Yeah.
in a financial regard? So that's cool. But one thing I think it can get better with as well, when the fighters come together, and start to unionize and really
Yes,
start to,
Yes.
But you're right. You're right. It needs that. But I think, as you said, that's in the growth in the internal ranks of the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, when
Yeah.
you have like one main promotion, right, that's out there getting the largest share of the market, it's probably a tougher conversation to have, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I would say that I don't really dig, like, I don't really like how, like back in the day, if you had beef with somebody and it amounted to that you guys were in a trash talking war, then it just amounted to that, and people got to see something
It
really
was
cool,
real.
something
Yeah.
organic.
It was
you know what I'm saying?
organic. Yep.
But with this era, it's like
Yeah.
these kids think that it's the formula that you need.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
And it
Yeah.
comes off very disingenuous sometimes.
Disingenuous.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
cheapens it, and it's disrespectful. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
you've had
it is.
you fought on the prelim. What are you calling out former champs for? It's like everyone
Right.
thinks that's what we got to do.
You gotta
If we
start
can
a
go
beef.
Yeah,
I think
start
he's talking
beef.
about, but he's
and-
talking about the Twitter wars.
Of course,
and all
yeah.
the-
You're seeing all these guys, like, and there. I mean, I was always raised with respect. Like, put your head down, work, and you'll get to that point. But being down
Right.
here and trying to scream at the person up there to try to carry you up for a fight, like
I
you're-
think it's like dragging in other people's families.
yeah, you're seeing it where
like the lack of
or
boundaries
even
to the
guys
shit
that you're
talk.
like, this guy's not a shit talker. And he's trying so
know.
hard, and
So
you're like,
hard.
it's cringy to see this guy who's such a good guy trying to talk shit right now.
But it
just
goes. I
doesn't-
think. But Rashad, don't you think it goes back to the money? It goes back to the money. You're like, if we can't,
100%.
if we can't,
Yeah.
if we can't sell pay-per-views, fucking Dana says, man, you're not generating.
You're not
And then
generating
people
money.
like, I got to work harder at talking shit. You know what I mean?
No.
Case point is Colby Covington, and look at him now. I mean, he and everyone, all his day ones are like, yo, he's not really
But
like
isn't
that.
that
It's just
so? Don't you think that's heisted a little bit from like WWE? Former WWE.
It
kind
comes,
of
yeah,
vibe?
look, it
absolutely.
comes
It's
down. It
creating
comes
the
down to trying to
villains,
stand
the
out. You
heroes.
got guys trying to stand out.
But but that becomes a hard thing, right? You want to be like, all right, guys, you don't need to be like this. But then when they see it producing, like how it did for Colby Covington
Right.
and Conor McGregor and so many of these guys who did it, then it's like, like
It tempts you.
here's the
Yeah.
it's like there's no perfect formula, but whatever formula that it is, it has to be your own. And when
Yes.
it's not your own, it comes off as it's not your own.
Exactly.
Everything
Yeah.
you do in life, man. At the very end of the day, it'll either work or it won't work. But, you know, at least you'll go, I died on my sword just being honest and truthful to the experience and who I am. So,
Yeah.
Rashad,
Absolutely.
thank you for joining us,
Thank you,
brother.
brother.
so much,
Thank
Much
you,
Oh, no
respect,
problem,
much
no
love.
Right, and we are back with our dear friend and what I consider one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC,
Appreciate that.
Andre Fili.
Yeah,
for
but
having
you
me.
know, rumor is he's like one of the most liked.
Oh, he is.
Like
Of
people
course.
fuck with this kid.
I
People
appreciate
fuck.
it. Yeah, I hope so. I think most people fuck with me, and then there's a small group that really just can't fucking stand me, which I get. There's
Really?
Yeah,
No.
I think there's some people who
You don't
don't
talk
like me.
shit. You don't do any. You don't.
No, I think I keep it pretty cool. Like I'm just trying to be genuine.
Well,
I'm
they
just
belong.
myself.
They belong to that sect of the population that is the we do not fuck with people.
Yeah, right.
Cool people.
You can't make
sect of the
everybody
popu-
like you.
Yeah, you can't.
The thing
man,
is, the older
yeah.
you get, the more you're like, I probably wouldn't like them anyway, so it's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah, at some point it all
How
runs
do you
off.
feel about when people don't like you? You know what I mean? You feel like, you know, they don't know you, but
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
So two things on that. One is when I got into the sport, I think so much of why I did this, like looking back now that I'm an adult, looking back as a kid, because I've been doing this since I started training. I saw the UFC, I saw the Ultimate Fighter finale when I was like 13 or 14, and I knew when I saw it, I was like, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
Like I went through high school telling my teachers, like, look, I respect what you're trying to tell me, but this has nothing to do with me. I'm gonna be. I used to look my teachers in the face and say, I'm gonna be a famous fighter. Like that was my mentality.
I was
like
the same way with
okay.
entertainment. Though.
Yeah,
I
you
would
just
like
know.
tell everybody, I was like, I'm gonna move to LA.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in entertainment.
yeah.
That's
and
it.
think
like-
about what a
Big move. You're in San Diego, bro.
right. Think of
Like he's coming from Michigan. He's like, dude, I was in
he's
the
like, I'm gonna get in my car and
I
drive
come from
15
San
minutes
Diego.
up
We
the
had a
freeway.
little farm, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
going to Hollywood. They're like, all right, well, come visit us on the
Right.
weekend,
I'm
Sean.
Yeah.
I'm from fucking Lynchburg, South Carolina.
Exactly.
Right.
You're from shit. So
I respect it though, but I
Okay,
respect
geez,
it. Yeah,
I guess my
respect it,
road
all right?
wasn't as hard as your guys.
It was hard. It was just shorter though, but it was still. I see. I respect it. No. I think it's funny to look back and think about being like a 15-year-old like punk ass kid.
Yeah.
And teachers like a teacher who's like a 50-year-old man who's like maybe his dreams didn't work out and he's
Right.
been through a divorce and he's got this, he's got he's seen so much of life.
bitter.
And then to
Hey,
just look
maybe
at
his,
Yeah.
maybe his dreams did work out, and he went through a divorce.
Right, yeah, right.
That
any,
shit
any
happens
number
too,
of
man.
things, any number of things,
Yeah.
Right.
But like he has all this life experience, and then you have some like 15-year-old punk ass kid with the confidence, undeserved confidence to just be like, no, trust me, I got this. I'm gonna be
You
all
You
right.
know what though?
Like,
but the reality is, you know, when you make up your mind to do something, that kind of
Right.
like direction, having that and the confidence to know what you want to do.
and there's no plan B.
But you're right, exactly. That's the way I felt about movies when I
Right.
started out. I'm like, I don't have a plan B. I'm like, I don't know what the
This is
fuck
it,
I'm gonna do
yeah.
in my life. I was just trying to get to LA, trying to do something
Okay.
cool in my life that the
Yeah.
average person couldn't do.
Right.
Now, turns out anybody can make movies and TV
Right.
shows because you just need a fucking iPhone,
Yeah.
really. But you know, you should.
But not
there's
good.
levels,
But
sure.
not
There's
good
levels.
movies.
But and the same thing with fighters. What's so
Right.
crazy is if you had said to me back in the day, you know, how many people you think want to be in Hollywood versus how many people want to be pro fighters, I would have said it was incredibly disproportionately
Right.
Hollywood, right? Everybody wants to be an actor, you want to be this, that.
Yeah.
But literally everywhere you go now, somebody wants to be a fighter, man. The
Yeah.
amount of training facilities and martial arts facilities
You
that
see
open
more
up.
guys want to be fighters than like football players.
I mean, I'm
right?
54 and I'm rolling in
Right.
a jiu-jitsu academy.
Right.
You know
It's
what
become
I mean?
much
I mean,
more
it
part
hurts,
of the
but I'm
mainstream.
doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Very mainstream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's how you got to
mainstream.
like that idea of like it hurts, but I'm still doing it. It's like you have
Well, I
to,
love it.
You
I
have to
do
keep
love
doing it.
it.
You have to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
moving,
I
right?
love it
That's what
too.
keeps you young.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
to get back to your question, you said dealing with people who don't like me. I think now that I'm 31 and I deal with it much better because when I was that age, I was 14, 15, so much about fighting was like I wanted people to fucking love me. Like when you win a fight,
Right.
Yeah.
strangers hug you. Like
When
you're
you're
the
young,
fucking
you want
man.
that. Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
you want
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You're like I want every girl, I want every person in here to
Yeah.
be like
Right.
all
I
eyes
love-
on me.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
some people go their whole life without being the man.
Right.
Right.
And you get to
That's
be the
true.
man for 5 minutes. All eyes are on you. Like you win a fight.
Right.
Strangers. It doesn't matter what's going on at home. Doesn't
Right.
matter what's going on here. Or doesn't matter how shitty things might be going in one aspect of your life. Dude, you win a fight. All your boys are hyped. You're
Right.
you're king for
Right.
5 minutes,
Right.
right?
Very
And you get
true.
that feeling, and that's like a drug, man. I wanted to be loved so much when I was a kid, and winning fights was like, you just got that adoration, and I love that feeling, and still love that feeling, obviously.
Right.
But you get older and you start you stop trying to fill that void, right?
Right,
You
of
start being
course.
like, all right, I got a girl who's super solid and I love her. We're gonna start a
Exactly.
family soon,
Exactly.
and I just bought my
This
home.
just sounds like he went through some good therapy, man.
Word. I'm like,
Mushrooms.
Fuck, man.
Suicide.
My
Yes,
son
sir.
had to be this.
Yes,
Bro,
sir.
that's a lot of self-awareness, man,
Yeah.
for a 31 year
For
old
31,
Right,
I was
guy.
going to say,
exactly.
because I'm
Appreciate
46,
that.
you know, and Rob is, you know, in his 50s, and you're like, what,
What the
30
fuck you guys say it
34.
like that for?
I mean, you know,
And
you
he
Put a
say
little
you were
extra.
36?
He put some ump on that.
He's somewhere
Yeah,
up
he's,
there.
I'm 46. I thought
I'm
you said
46.
36.
But when I was 31,
Yeah.
I was not this present. You know what I mean? I was not this
Dude,
present.
I didn't. I was just going into therapy. No, I was like 2 years into serious therapy at 31. But you know, when you first get into that kind of shit, I'm not saying you're in that.
No,
but
no,
I
yeah.
was in that shit.
Nothing wrong with that,
When
yeah.
you get in there, they fucking flip everything upside down. You're
Yeah.
walking around giving your parents dirty looks. Like, yeah, I remember what you did when I was like
Right,
8.
right.
Don't think you got away with that.
Right,
It's coming
right. I
out
fucking
now.
remember.
It's all coming out.
Guess
You're
what I
crying about
realized?
shit you
Guess what
forgot
I-
ever happened and shit, and
You know,
bawling your eyes
but
out.
you
Exactly.
make-
Yeah.
You fuck with it all and you twist it all and you get inside of it and like dump it out and work with it and then you come out better for
Yeah,
having
take
done
a
it.
look
But
at
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
go, hey, I value this person in my life and you know, and I know I'm just stuffing voids, you
Right.
know, and this is a priority. That's
But I
big,
think so
man.
much of that comes from fighting though, because
Right.
I've had the best and worst moments of my entire life in the UFC octagon.
Well, give
For
us the best and
everyone-
give us
for
the worst.
everyone
Yeah.
to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
So you have to
it's-
face
it's
that. You have
out
to
there
face
for
that.
everyone,
Like there's
right.
nothing like fighting tells you the truth. It's brutal. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, in life, you'll have like, you know, adversity, but you deal with it your own way.
You have to,
You
yeah.
don't see the whole world doesn't see it. You know,
Right.
you don't
Yeah.
deal with it while the whole world has witnessed
like your
it
worst day,
happen.
like your worst day. I'll tell you, your worst day at work. Like you went home, maybe had a drink or whatever. Like put on a show and fucking just got stoned and kicked and just kicked it.
Exactly,
You're like,
yeah.
I gotta decompress.
Yeah.
Like my worst day.
Bullshit.
Okay, maybe not you.
Bullshit.
But I'll say this: my worst day at
so
work.
I've had some bad
My worst day at
motherfucking
work.
days
My worst
bro.
day at work. I got
Yeah.
knocked out in front of my grandma. She was like in the second or third row. Like I got knocked out and I don't remember anything till I stepped in. Only time I've been knocked out. I don't remember anything till I stepped foot in the ambulance. And I looked at my coach and
So
went,
you don't have like a faint recollection of your grandmother's voice? Go, boy,
no,
get up.
you're
Get
embarrassing
the
us. I raised you better. You're like, nah, like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the worst. Like, think about
Yeah.
the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah,
like,
but
the
it goes
most.
with the
Bro,
territory,
Bro,
right?
you're embarrassed. You're ashamed.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
You're like all this months and years of hard work. My fucking grandma flew into town. It's her first time in Vegas. It's her first
Right.
time in this event.
Ooh.
And I get knocked out. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a horrible thing. That
Right.
shit still hurts to talk about.
I think it. You know what? But I think that's the part I most empathize or sympathize with fighters is when they lose in front of the
Right.
hometown crowd.
Yeah.
When they have the fights at home
And lose.
and they lose.
Yeah.
But the other side of
it's a
that, the other side of
fucking-
that though, because you asked me the best. You asked me the
Yeah.
best. A couple years later, then I knocked somebody out in the brand new arena they just got built 5 minutes from my house in Sacramento.
There you
Was
go.
in the black SUV, drove past the state capitol, like teared up, got chills, like going to the home arena where I've seen Uriah
That's
and these
amazing.
fucking heroes compete, and I knocked the fuck out of this dude. And my dad just got out of prison. It's the first time seeing one of my. I haven't seen my dad in 17 years. His parole agent let him come. My mom and dad are sitting next to each other in the crowd. I hop over the fence after I get the knockout. I hug a bunch of the wounded vets like from our town.
that's
Like it's just like storybook shit. So
Well,
it's like
yeah, I couldn't even
think I
write
remember
shit.
that.
you couldn't
Yeah.
write it.
Yeah.
You couldn't write it. So it's like
Fucking
so it's like
It's
you
like,
have
it's like
this
the end of a movie.
Right.
It's like everything just comes together.
and fighting provides both.
Yeah,
and
it
then that's
does.
the thing is, and you get into the cage and you're confident and you put every single ounce of your fucking soul into this.
Right.
But you don't actually know how your night's gonna end. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You manifest this and you put every single ounce of your soul into it. But there have been times where I left in an ambulance, and there's times where I left in a limo with my girl and my
course.
fucking
Of
friends, and
course.
I saw my dad and my mom, and it's like a storybook ending, right? And so
Right.
it's like, I think the bad times shape you and the good times shape you. So the
Absolutely.
bad times make you take a real fucking hard look at yourself,
Exactly,
and the good
exactly.
times also make you take a look at yourself and realize how grateful you are.
Yeah, how
and for
grateful,
me,
yeah.
as I get older, the trick is staying as close to the middle as possible, because you can't get too high with the highs and
Yep.
you can't get too low with the
Yep.
lows, or else
Of course.
it's harder to
Balance,
bounce
man,
back.
yeah.
These peaks and valleys are so big.
Balance,
if you
yeah.
ride them, fuck, dude, it's a roller coaster. You know?
I think the pandemic did that to a lot of people because I'm pretty good at like trying to just stay here. I mean, I move around a lot, but I know for myself during the pandemic, like we all had these experiences where
Yeah.
like shit was good, shit was bad,
Yeah.
shit was
Right.
good again, shit was bad, and I think collectively it just kind of set a tone that just wasn't incredibly kind of balanced. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
There's a lot of
I agree,
uncertainty,
man. I
for
think
sure.
like we have to do that work on ourselves to kind
Yeah.
of find that place that we could operate
Yeah.
out of, you know?
Faber-
How's the relationship with the dad now after you kept saying that The Rock's your real dad?
Thankfully he was
Did the old man
not
get
thankfully,
pissed?
but
Yeah.
he was in prison, so I don't think he had
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you probably didn't
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's weird, man. It's weird. You grew up like my dad was, he was always locked up and you know
Right.
like living that lifestyle and
Right.
and you find that other places. Like thankfully I have Faber, I have Team Alpha
Right.
Male, I have
Right.
people wrestling coaches throughout my life that you find that. You know what I mean? You find that father figure other
Right.
places, and
Right.
thankfully, I was smart enough to find it in the right places, right? People who I could see, okay, this dude doesn't have a life that I want, so I'm not going to follow his lead. But you see someone like
Right.
Faber or Joseph Benavidez or some of these guys, you're like,
Right.
all right, I'm going to follow this dude's lead.
Right.
So I'm thankful for that. But
Well, how'd you wind up with the ankle bracelet? How'd you wind up with the jewelry?
progress is a slow process, brother.
There you go.
It wasn't overnight. That's the funny thing is like Team Alpha Male is like these clean cut like college wrestler dudes, right?
Right.
And then like the second generation of us are just fucking kids off the street, dude.
Right.
Just hoodlums, bro. Just like straight off
Ready
the
for
street,
action.
right? Ready to go, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and so I basically came to Team Alpha Male with a fucking ankle monitor on,
Yeah.
and thankfully my PO was cool enough to count that as my job. So it was like
Yeah.
train and then get your ass home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I'm in there with fucking head tattoos and a mohawk and a fucking ankle monitor, and these dudes are looking at me like, who the fuck is this kid who won't shut up and like keeps trying to spar me? And I'm like, because I loved it, I was just
Yeah.
like,
Right.
these are people I saw on TV.
Right.
Especially right now, it's like people are so fucking scared to be genuine.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But it's like the more you feed into that like PC bullshit, the more you feed
The
into
more-
like
yeah.
I won't say how I truly feel because I don't want to be called out for it. Or it's
Yeah.
like, yo, all that cancel culture, all the shit about like not being able
Right.
to be yourself. It's like the way you fight that is to just be genuine.
Right. Just
be
And to
yourself,
just be
yeah.
yourself. And it's
I
like
think there's there's areas you carve out, right?
Right.
Like nobody needs your hate, nobody
Right.
needs your homophobia,
100%.
nobody needs your,
Right.
your racism
No,
and
fuck it, yeah.
bigotry. Like that's like you could be out
old
there,
world
like,
shit. You can leave that
But I'm
behind.
saying, right,
bro.
I'm saying that's not like really what I was talking about when I say freedom of speech,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying is the ability to express your values
Right.
and the things that are important to you. You go, okay, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
but we
fair
but
enough.
we,
I could disagree, agree to disagree.
But how much have you seen like something that's righteous? Like you see people getting canceled for shit they deserve. Like you see people get canceled, you're like, oh, that guy's a
Right,
fucking
right,
monster.
right,
yeah,
right,
fuck
right,
that.
right.
Thank God we found that out.
Right,
I don't want
right,
to support this
right.
fucking guy. But then how much have you seen that same? How much have you seen people?
Right.
There's people who have genuinely been hurt, and their
Right.
story deserves to be heard, and the people who hurt them deserve to be fucking
Right,
canceled.
right.
But then how much have you seen other people vulture in on that and go, oh, this is the easy way to not have to. This is the easy way to not have to listen to other people's opinions who agree with
Right,
me, right?
right,
And
right.
that's where you.
I've seen it all at this point, just
Yeah.
being in Hollywood.
I bet,
I've
yeah.
seen
Oh,
so
yeah.
much crazy shit
Right.
and extortion, shakedowns.
But it's a fucking
claims.
beautiful thing
But
to
I've seen a
see.
lot of like real days of reckoning too.
Right,
Like
yeah,
you said,
yeah.
people that really,
kind of deserve what they got coming,
you
right?
know, reap what they sowed.
But I do think it's important to have guys like Dana and guys like The Rock and these people who are big voices
Right.
in the mainstream
Of course.
Yeah.
to keep being vocal and to set
Yeah.
that example of like, yo, it's okay. Like, yeah, you don't need to be hateful. Like all that hateful fucking old world racist shit, I don't fuck with any of that.
Yeah.
Right.
But to speak your opinion, just because someone doesn't agree with you, that doesn't automatically
Yeah.
make them, you know what I mean? It doesn't make them
course,
your
of
enemy.
course,
It doesn't make
exactly.
them, like, in fact, you should have people challenging your ideas.
Of course.
You don't want yes men around.
Right.
Like, if you feel a certain type of way, you should have people who challenge those ideas. And that way, like, if I feel a certain type of way and you feel the exact opposite, and I listen to you, if I still feel the same afterward, well, then it just strengthens how
Yeah.
I feel, right?
Right.
But if
Yeah.
you just have people who constantly agree with you and have yes men, I'm sure
Yo,
you guys
you
deal
need
with
to
this all
have
the time.
those debates with like 5-minute timers. you
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
Because I've seen that shit just go south and sideways
right.
real
And
fucking
that's your whole
quick,
fucking
and
day.
they go
Yeah,
on
exactly.
forever. But
Right.
you know, like, it is no matter what position you put yourself in, you're right. You're opened up some kind of shit. We put like Dwayne in a scene and he was reading like the Elizabeth Warren book. And it wasn't necessarily how he feels about her policies.
Right.
But Elizabeth Warren had said in an interview Ballers was her favorite TV show.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really know if that was really true.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if it was her husband's favorite show and she's
Right.
just like
Well,
trying
whatever,
to
it's
get the
still cool
Rock
of her to
support.
say, you know?
Whatever. So we
Yeah.
were throwing some support behind her,
Right.
you know, and we wrote that in, and Dwayne was reading it, and I saw the response to it, like, oh, you fucking liberal shit, unfollowed, this, that. And it wasn't even like Dwayne who did it.
Right.
But it was just like, you see, it doesn't really matter where you go. You're going to fucking upset
Exactly.
somebody.
Of course.
Exactly.
So at the end of the
Exactly.
day, just be true to you. Be the
true to
best
yourself.
person you can
And
be.
also, just as fucking human beings, you have to recognize, like, yo, the way you vote doesn't mean that you're not my fucking friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. Like, we probably all, if we could sit here and talk about 100 things, we'd probably all agree pretty closely on 85 of them.
100%, yeah.
And then there'd be 15 things that don't really fucking matter, but we all, and it's like, yo, if you focus on the 15, like, you'll always have division.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
But it's like the other number of things that we all agree on just as human beings and decent people, like, that's the way more important. Like, that's
Right.
way more powerful to me than the
Right.
fucking 15 things like, oh, I personally feel this way and you personally feel that way. It's like, all right, like, we
Yeah.
can still have a beer, dude.
Yeah,
like, it's not a big
exactly.
deal. Like,
100%.
we can still have a cool conversation.
Yeah,
like,
right.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like,
Totally. That's
you know what I
funny.
mean? I think that's super important. People lose sight of that. Like,
I agree.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
people lose sight of everything, right?
So
People lose sight,
earlier
yeah.
we were talking about your tats.
Yeah.
Like, what was your first tat? What does it mean to you? What do any of these tats
My
mean to
first
you?
tattoo was the side of my head. I shaved
That
them
was
all.
the first
That's
one.
a crazy
Yeah,
place to
yeah.
start.
That was the first one.
Wait,
with the
Really?
ankle
I would
monitor
never
on,
have
yeah, I
guessed
said,
that.
fuck
That
it,
would be
yeah.
the first. Okay.
So I shaved a mohawk and I got both sides of my head tattooed, and I just said to myself, like, yo, fuck it. Like, after this, there is no regular job. Like, I have to make
Well,
it as a
that's
fighter.
what we do, because I'm gonna blast the neck
Yeah.
at some point, not
Yeah.
the full throat piece.
Yeah.
But I'll just get some little
Yeah.
shit over there, you
For
know,
sure.
when I get to it,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
got other
No, you
areas
ain't
to
in a
hit
rush.
first. But you do realize you make it a little bit of a statement.
That's
For
the
a
end of
young
it.
guy,
That's the end of a regular
For
job
me, they're
talk,
gonna go.
yeah.
They're just gonna look at me and go, "Yo, that motherfucker's in a serious crisis." Right? Like he's really
Like, he's going
For
through
you,
some
he's going
shit.
through. They're like, this young man does not know what he's doing in his
Right,
future.
yeah, for sure.
But I think it's different because like my old man passed away like 7-8 years ago. He was a street cat from New York.
Yeah.
He would have fucking killed me if I had tattoos.
Right,
People were like, Are
right.
you out of your fucking mind? But
Different
the
culture.
culture's different,
Yeah.
and fashion's different, and
Right.
style's
Yeah.
different.
But I grew
Everything's
up-
different. Like
Yeah.
my kid, but he's 5 years old. He has his mother put on like the
Stick
decal
on
tattoo.
tattoos.
Yeah.
Bro,
Sick.
when I do it for him, I put him on his neck. I
Yeah.
sent him to private school. He's got him like on his neck.
They're at the PTA meeting, like, I
And they're
cannot
like,
believe
yeah,
that
what
this
the
is.
fuck? Yeah, they're like, "Who the
Well, I
fuck
grew
is
up like
wrong
my
with these
parents are young. Like my
Right.
mom's only 50, my dad's 49.
Right.
So
I-
like,
shit.
so I grew up
could be-
watching my
could be
dad.
dad too.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Dwayne
but-
could be dad also. He
yeah.
really
Yeah.
could be.
Whatever,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Like.
That's funny.
I never had a dad. I'm not gonna start now. Whatever. I just like to.
Well, you
fucking-
got a dad. He just wasn't that present.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's cool.
Yeah.
He's the homie. He's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we're
I
cool.
think a lot of
Shout
these
out to
things-
him.
Yeah.
Bro, you know what's crazy though? I listen.
Yeah.
I only voice this because I am the father of a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I don't live with his mom, so we're not together all the time. And let's say he's with me 30-some-odd% of the time. I try to be 100% present that
Right.
30% of the time. But when shit gets dicey, or like the fear that she'd want to move away, it really makes you think that as long as you bridge that gap
Yeah.
in this lifetime, like I suspect you're super evolved, particularly for your age. I don't know what your dad's scenario is. He might be less evolved
Yeah.
than you, but at some point there will be a time of like those
No,
roads coming together.
We had that. Yeah, we had to
Right.
have that because it's
So-
like, yo, like
so even
he-
if it's not dad,
right.
Yeah.
there'll
We're-
be a
we're-
respect
we're
and a
cool.
bond.
Yeah.
Yes, you know
There's
what
a
I
mutual
mean?
respect because you get to a point where like, all right, I haven't seen him in almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, how much longer do you go without being like, all right, whatever? Like,
Yeah.
like you get that's your one. You get one
Yo,
dad.
it's
you know what
it's
I'm saying?
I just know because there's no. I'm a pretty, and I know Frankie was sitting over there off camera. He's a dad of a girl, and he was separated from his daughter for a little while,
Yeah,
and I
it's
saw
gotta be
the
tough,
agony he
yeah.
went through. I don't know if he wants to be talking about it, but we could always cut this out. But what I'm saying is I would suspect it's a
Yeah.
very fucked up, unique, fucked up human who does not have regrets about
Yeah.
the fact he wasn't there for those 20
Oh, for
years.
sure, yeah.
Now, he could say, listen, I'm a gangster. I made my choices. I was in the
Yeah.
fucking street. I was just looking to get
But you
fucking
gotta
paid.
regret some of that shit.
You're like, I know
sure.
Yeah.
that he's sitting there.
For
And
sure.
I also know that when you're in there, that when you won that fight, he was there, there's zero chance he wasn't like being more pride. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make motherfuckers cry.
No,
It's
no,
just
no.
fucking-
Making me a little mess.
I'm
I'm about to call my dad after this.
Cut.
man.
Everybody call their dads and
Dad.
check in.
Yeah.
I
Dad,
love you,
I love you,
Dad.
man. I'm sorry.
I love
Nah,
you.
but,
I love you, Dad.
No, but you said like so. Thinking about that, yeah, I two things. I grew up with my mom and dad being young and quick. I remember
Yeah.
my parents being young, like
Right.
young
Yeah.
people and getting
Yeah.
tattoos. So it was never a thing to me, you know.
Right.
But it's funny you said like people they see me and go, this guy has no fucking idea what he's doing, right? But I actually don't take that personal. Like I actually do think that like That's it. Like, I'll say it this way. Most people who look like me are not going to be as nice of a person as me.
Right.
If I told you, hey, there's a guy, he's coming up here, he's missing his front tooth, he's got his throat tattooed, his head tattooed, he gets in fights, fist fights every single day, you'd be like, oh, watch
I'd be
out
like,
for
bro,
You'd be like, watch out for this
I'd be like, all
motherfucker.
right, MGM security.
Like, hey, don't bring him
Yeah,
up.
but now today, I would be like, which one of them is he?
Right.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look,
Right,
everybody's
yeah.
head's tattooed.
Good point,
Like,
right, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to
Right.
say. What I'm trying to say is like old school people might look and be like, oh, that's aggressive.
Right.
New school people like,
Right.
bro,
But,
we'll
bro,
all be
but
triggered by
I
that.
take that. I understand when people are, especially older people, are put off by the way I look. And honestly, like, I don't blame them. Like, I'm the one that chose to get the tattoos. I just had this conversation with a couple of friends. Like, people should judge a book by its cover because mostly people who look like this aren't going to be, like, especially nice, understanding guys. But I almost take, like, joy in it. Like, I love, like, there's a real, like, going to, like, grocery shop or something like that. That's, like, church for me, dude. Like, I go grocery
too,
shop.
bro.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Me
And
too.
I just take it as an exercise in just, like, practicing fucking over-the-top politeness. Like,
Right.
like, if I'm walking down an aisle and there's an old lady, I love just going, oh, after you, ma'am. And just seeing her face look at me and go, like, oh, like, pleasantly surprised. Like, I love that
You
shit.
didn't
Like,
rob me.
yeah, like,
Where
oh,
is
can I-
the
dude,
frozen
dude,
section?
She thinks she worked there, bro.
Right, getting on, like getting on a plane
young
and going, oh, let me
man,
get
can
that
you
for
help
you, and
me
helping
to
a
the
little old
car?
lady.
Right.
Like, I love that shit. Like, I love
That's
that. Like,
cool, yeah.
I understand why someone would look at me a certain way. Like, I chose
Nah,
to get
bro,
fucking
I
tattoos.
think
on
that
my
shit
head.
emanates like bad people. It's a vibe.
You
Good
sense
people,
the
it's a
vibe,
vibe.
for
You're
sure.
a good
You sense
shit,
the
man.
vibe.
You know?
So you mentioned your front tooth being missing. How did
Yeah.
you lose it? And
So-
where is it?
Okay, I gotta make up a cool story real quick. Hold up. Nah, so
Like I bit into a candy apple.
there was a walnut, and where there shouldn't have been a walnut. I specifically ordered a poppy seed muffin. No, I dropped a 45-pound plate on my face.
Yeah,
I was
fucked
I
up.
was suspended with my feet in TRX
Oh!
straps. I was doing sit-ups with the weight.
Yeah, and it
I
loosened
leaned
up,
back,
yeah.
and my chest
Oh, it
had
flipped
sweat, and
over.
it slid down, and it slammed.
fuck.
Right,
God
so check this out.
damn.
So I'm like 20. I don't have any fucking health insurance. I don't have any fucking money. So I'm like, and I'm in fight camp. So I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck it, run it. Like, whatever it is. Like, I thought it was just loose, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever, it'll be fine. So I just go the next couple of weeks. I'm sparring, I'm grappling, I'm training. My buddy Lance Palmer.
Would
a
you think it
fucking
was
beast.
going to heal up on its
I
own?
thought it would be all right. Hey, bro, I'm fucking 20, whatever.
Yeah,
like, I don't
years
know.
old,
I don't have time to
bro.
like,
Come on.
Calcify.
that's like, I'm like, I'll drink some fucking milk and whatever. Like, that's just
It'll
good for you.
regrow.
Yeah, it'll be
I
fine.
use some Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, whatever. It'll be fine. Like it's not. That's not my business. That's not
Right.
my business.
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll handle itself.
Yeah.
And I just keep training, and then boom, one sparring session, my buddy Lance Palmer hits me with an overhand left, and my fucking tooth is like a saloon door, just swinging. Like I take my
Yeah,
mouthpiece out, and my tooth is just like on a hinge, bro.
Yeah, you just
and I'm
pulled it
like,
yourself,
all
right?
right, maybe I shouldn't. So I was gonna pull it myself, and then one of my buddies was like, yo, you really should go to the dentist. Like, that
Yeah.
doesn't look... And I'm like, all right, fine. So I go to the dentist, and I had, like, what I thought was a loose tooth. I fractured the whole bone in my face.
fuck, all
So they
right.
went up and took the entire thing out.
Oh,
I've
they
talked...
did a bone graft.
No, so I haven't done a bone graft yet
I
because...
did that for like some
with the like an
implants.
implant.
Yeah, me too. I
So
did the
this,
same
so
thing.
that's the thing is, I want to get an implant,
Yeah.
but they told me if you let it heal all the way, it'll be as strong as a regular tooth.
Well, that's what you. Yeah,
But if you
yeah,
don't,
right?
it'll fucking rip a bunch of stuff out with it. So they told me 5 months of no contact. No training, no nothing. I'm like, dude, I haven't gone 5 months without getting hit in the
Yeah,
face since I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking 12. Like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
bro.
Right.
Like, so
See,
it's just
it's crazy because the same shit happened to me. I wasn't lifting a weight. It happened during the pandemic. I smoked some weed. I had the munchies, and I was looking through my cupboard for something to munch on, and I found a granola bar that was probably like 13 years old.
fuck.
I bit into it.
And
Brick
hey, but the weed in
was
your
a
system was
brick.
like, go, fuck it.
Yeah.
Dude, I
was
bit
like-
into it, and all of a sudden I heard a crunch, like a loud crunch, and my front tooth had broke off down to the root.
Oh,
So I was like,
miserable.
"Fuck!" I didn't want to, drop the cash on veneers.
Yo, it's in a pandemic too. Like dentists are
Yeah.
like, you on your own.
You're on
man.
your own.
no.
You're like,
Yeah,
the world's
they don't
shut
want
down,
any
bro.
of
Like,
that.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, because I'm kind of like a vain I'm kind of vain. So I had the mask on, and my daughter was like, yo, and it's crazy how it changed my whole look. Like,
Yeah.
you look cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Bro,
it
years
works-
of
it works
practice
so
because I was
cool.
when I first happened, I didn't want to be in public. I had a flipper and I had a fake tooth, I had all kinds of shit.
Oh,
and
bro,
then you
you
get to
look
the point,
cool.
you
Like,
get
it
to the
looks-
point
it
where you
looks
just
cool
go,
on you.
fuck
Yeah,
it, this is
yeah.
what I look like.
Yeah,
What the fuck
Yeah,
ever.
bro, trust me. You won't look as cool when you're like 50. But
By
now
then
it
it'll be
looks
fixed.
fucking dope.
But the thing I wanna
At
do-
50, you're gonna want to put a tooth
So
in.
this is the thing,
Yeah.
I did.
But yo, 31, tough, cool looking.
by
kid,
50, I
tied
don't
up,
know if
it
I
works.
give a fuck. Do you care at 50?
Yeah, 50
Yo,
don't give a
you
fuck.
never stop
Okay,
caring.
okay,
okay.
valid,
Care
valid.
more.
Yeah.
You fucking
care more. Yeah,
bro.
you hold on to.
You start looking.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe I'll cut a little of this. I'll lift a little of that.
And I'll
Everybody.
tuck
But
a
here's the
little
thing, I just
this.
did my first part in a feature length, and the
I
character.
know. I heard. I want to
Yeah.
hear about
Yeah,
it.
you got to
man.
check it out. I'll tell me what you think. But it got Lionsgate picked it up, so that was cool.
Oh,
That was a
dope.
big
Congrats.
thing. Yeah,
Congrats.
so
That's
it was cool, and it was funny because I had a small part in the movie, and afterwards the director was like, "Fuck, I was scared you were gonna suck, so I only gave you a small part. If I knew you would have been good, I would have given you a bigger part." I'm like, I was like, keep me on the next one. Just keep me in mind for the
There
next
you
one.
go. Yeah.
Just keep me on that.
So what
But-
was it? What's the movie?
so the movie's actually based on a true story. It's about this dude who's growing weed, and it's like a home invasion situation.
Right.
It's fucking like fight for survival. It's based on a true story. This dude was getting robbed and basically had to fight for his fucking life. Disarmed these guys and like
And
made
they
it out.
stretched that to 90 minutes.
Yeah,
What is it,
yeah.
90
Based on a
minute
true
fight?
story. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what based
Yeah.
on a true
Yeah.
story
I'm coming
means.
for my
Inspired by a
weed.
true
You
story.
know what
I'm coming
based on a
for my
true story
weed.
means.
You motherfuckers better
But,
have it. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool experience. But I got to play like they were like, hey, listen, it takes place in Northern California. We want you to play kind of like a scummy cousin who grows weed. I'm like, oh, that's just every kid I grew up with. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I've been training for this role my whole fucking life.
Right,
Here we go.
right,
Like,
right.
they're like, here's your wardrobe, and like the wardrobe was just like what I wear every day. I'm like, fuck, this would be easy.
Yeah.
Right.
But that character, easy to not have a front tooth. But I want to do other movies. And
With
not
guys who have
with
it.
guys who
Yeah.
have their front teeth. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, but
I'll
bro,
probably
they'll fix that.
I'll probably never
yeah.
play like young dad or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But I could play someone with a front tooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
Yo, they
Yeah.
can always put it in with special effects, bro.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean?
I mean, it'd be nice to
Yeah,
have it
you'll get
offset
a
when I
tooth.
leave.
Because basically, if you lose a tooth, I want to get into like dentistry here.
I'm
but
like,
if you lose a tooth, they could build like a bridge, right?
Right.
Like if you lose a tooth between two teeth. But sometimes the back tooth's not strong enough to support a bridge. So they're like, let's just put a bunch of implants in. So I put 2 implants in. But really, the first tooth in my mouth then starts there. I want to start naming my friends who have the same scenario.
Yeah,
Like,
name
oh,
'em.
yeah. But every once in a while, one of your friends will laugh. You're like, God damn, man. Like, you're missing like 3 teeth. in
Right,
back
because
of
the
your
front
fucking
tooth is
head.
right up front.
Yeah.
You know what you're
But
getting.
that's why
the
it's
side
cool.
tooth will take you by
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, you
But
see
like
a
the whole
clean
row's
cut.
missing. They're like, ah, you're like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
you see a clean cut
Yeah.
dude,
What's
and then
up?
you get
Yeah.
a different view. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
you're
it's
hiding
crazy,
some things
man.
from me. You've been into
Yeah.
some shit. Yeah.
And yo, last question, man. Let's talk about the music.
Yeah.
You're fronting a punk band too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
you
I'm in
fit
a
that
band called
role, bro.
Born Breach. It's like kind of like
Boy, that's dope.
Rage Against the Machine vibes,
Right.
like a little hip hop,
Nice.
little punk.
But
you
don't
know?
you think that's insensitive to the kids who really were breached?
Nah, you'll offend somebody. Somewhere,
motherfucker, you
somewhere.
was
No
a
matter
baby,
what.
baby,
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
I was
that's
born
fucked up,
breached.
yeah.
Canceled.
I
Like,
was
just
really
wait.
breached. You don't even know you fucking triggered me, motherfucker. I went
Somebody
to your
somewhere's
show.
triggered. Yeah, dude, if you're
Fuck me
triggered, by,
up.
if you're triggered by the name, don't listen to the music because the music will not.
Who's
it ain't,
doing
it
it,
ain't getting
man?
any better.
How does the process work? You write music?
So
you write
yeah,
lyrics? What
I'm
do
a
you do?
fucking. I'm just a hack. I get on stage and jump around and have stage presence, but I
Right.
play with some guys who are really good. I do vocals and I play with
Right.
some guys who are
Nice.
really good musicians. So they carry the weight of it.
Right.
I love writing, so I write all the lyrics and I do the vocals, but they do all the instrumental stuff.
Right.
And they fucking carry me. So shout out to those guys.
That's
like,
awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's
dope
cool.
that you have that creative side to you too, man.
Yeah.
You're very well-rounded.
I
young
appreciate
man.
that.
Yes,
Yeah, I
definitely.
hope my kid watches you fight and he goes
I-
up.
yeah.
My 5-year-old son wants to be like a fighter. He's
Hell
always
yeah.
like, I'm a fucking fighter. I'm a fighter.
I love it.
He
Hey,
might-
you're either born with it or
he
you're
might not
not.
say
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
but he does
Not
say
yet,
it.
though.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
soon.
I'm a
Yeah.
fighter.
But that's the thing with
Yeah.
music, with fighting, with acting, whatever. Like I have a clothing brand too. This is my shit. Like
Yeah.
everything I do, I want to do it so that it stands alone. Like I don't want it to
Right.
be. Like how many times do you see an athlete venture? You guys probably see this all the time. You see an athlete who's good at his sport,
Right.
and then he ventures off into something else, whether it's music or clothing, whatever, and it's kind of corny.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just like, okay, we'll support it because we like this athlete, right? Like, but everything I do, I want, whether it's music or acting or whatever, like I want it to stand on its own. Like
Right.
the scenes I did in that movie.
But they will, because the difference is you plant the seed, right? If you
Right.
plant the seed and something grows organically, that doesn't mean it's going to fail or succeed.
Right.
There's no guarantee that people are going to take to it, but you respect and appreciate the process that
Right.
somebody had.
It's
organic.
real, yeah,
When
it's
brands connect with an athlete, which I think most athletes are pretty careful about now, because I think branding has become such a big part of business vernacular, and
For sure.
everybody understands it,
For
that
sure.
people really curate shit carefully now.
Yeah.
But the corny stuff is when you take a brand, you take like the wrong person to attach
Right.
it to, athlete, celebrity, whatever
Yeah.
it is, vice versa. and it just doesn't work. And people are like,
You
it's
can't
not
fake the
organic.
funk.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
You can't fake the
You know
funk.
what I
People
mean?
smell it.
But,
People
like,
smell through it.
Failure's
Exactly.
okay, man.
Right.
If you really go out there trying to do real
sure.
shit and give
Yeah.
real shit, it can still be corny. You know,
Yeah.
I've written shit that's corny.
Right.
Doesn't always make it because.
But it comes from a genuine place, though, right?
Exactly.
But it comes. That's the difference, right? It comes from a genuine
it's
place.
weird because sometimes what's in your head doesn't necessarily come out
Doesn't
the right
translate.
way.
Right, doesn't
But
translate.
that's why you work with great people who read it and go, yo, that could be sharper.
Right.
What are you trying to say there? Let's go further down
Right.
to that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you do yourself. Like, I'll look at scenes and I'll look at them next day, but fuck that, and then rewrite it and
Right.
come from a different place. It's a
Yeah.
much
Perfect, because I'm writing a
different kind of
screenplay, and you guys can tell me how much it sucks and edit it
Yeah.
for me. All right?
thing. No, man, listen, it's
Well,
never
no,
gonna
well,
suck.
well,
Gotcha.
it won't
It's like,
suck.
it's
As long
a
as it's
skill
your
set.
truth.
Yeah.
But everything
Bro,
you've done,
I'll
everything you
read
do is good. So
I
I've
appreciate
assumed to read
that.
your screenplay
Man,
and be like,
whether
yo.
if like whatever I do, like I want it to be good and I want it to succeed, obviously. But over everything else, I want it to be genuine. Like I want
Yep.
people
That's it,
to
man.
connect with it.
That's
Like
the
I don't
most
have
important.
the biggest fan base, but I have a super loyal fan base.
I mean, you were getting stopped every minute when we were walking out of the wings.
But that's
right
that's
now.
the thing is like I still love that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Right.
it's like I'm not the most famous fighter on the roster, but the people who fuck with me really fuck with me heavily.
and that's important.
And that's a big
That's
deal
us.
to me.
Yeah.
He's,
That's important.
Yo, he's the us of fighters.
right.
We're not the biggest podcast.
Right.
Hell, we're not
Yeah.
even in the top 35,000. But you know what? No, I'm only kidding.
We're the top 2,000.
But we're the coolest.
I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
But the people who like it,
Yeah.
like it, man. And that's
Exactly.
that loyalty. That's what you build
For
on.
sure.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the
And
key.
you can look at I feel like you can look at your back catalog. You can look at your body of work and be proud of it. Appreciate you
Andre.
guys.
No,
Andre,
thank you,
thank
brother.
you guys.
Again,
Thank you so
yeah,
much
thank
for
you
hanging
so
out
much,
with us
man.
today.
Yeah,
Next time you're in LA, we got to get you in, do like a full hour
Let's
and
do
a
it,
half.
bro.
Yeah.
We're in Orange County all the time, bro.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
I'll
So
ride
we'll
up
do
to
it.
I'll ride up to LA
We'll
and
set it
we'll
up.
get to
Perfect.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sounds good, my man.
Get you
Alrighty.
some TV shows.
yeah.
dude.
Yes,
Boom.
sir. Andre Fili,
Rock
ladies and
roll.
gentlemen. Thank you.
Yo, we got one of my closest friends here joining us on the Cray, Mr. Ryan Drexler, CEO,
Shout out Muscle Farm.
CEO of Muscle Farm.
Thank you very much.
Right, what's going on, man?
How you doing, brother? Nice seeing you.
How's the breathing apparatus? How you feeling today?
It's great. Well, I saw you out at the clubs all night, so I figured I'd put this on.
Yeah, you know,
saw you hugging
yo,
on people.
I feel like we should.
O'Neal was kissing people. O'Neal didn't even know.
Don't say that. Don't say that. He
Don't
wasn't
say
kissing
that. I'm
anybody.
married. I'm married.
Married,
I
no,
didn't
he's
kiss
not. He
anybody.
wasn't kissing anybody. He was
I was
dancing.
kissing guys.
Guys,
He
Well,
walked in
that
here.
doesn't count. Yo, listen, I feel like we should just address it because you are the only person with the mask on. So, in all fairness, Ryan's wife is pregnant
Yes.
with their second child.
Yes.
Congrats.
He is
congrats.
being as preventative
Yes.
as possible.
yes.
So, good on
Thank you,
him.
Rob.
And we
Thank
are
you,
in
Rob.
Vegas. And he knows what happens in Vegas, like COVID happens to just stay floating around Vegas.
Yeah.
And
It is the
he's just
hotbed
being
right
smart
now.
as
Yeah.
fuck, So I know in a little bit we're going to be joined by one of you, and I'm not going to say who it is.
Yep.
But your new chief of marketing.
Sure.
And head
marketing
of business
director.
development.
And head of business development.
Sure.
We're really excited to speak to him. But since we are recording this and doing this,
Absolutely.
taping this for Fight Week, let's talk about Muscle Farm
Sure.
and Ryan Drexler's position in that world. A lot
Sure.
of people don't know you. They don't know the face behind your brand.
Sure.
Everyone
Tell us
knows
a little
Muscle
bit about
Farm.
Muscle Farm.
Yeah.
Muscle Farm is it's a huge.
Absolutely.
Synonymous with fighting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, at one
Absolutely.
point,
Absolutely.
might have predated your tenure at Muscle
yes, it
Farm.
did.
Yeah.
Was the collaboration between the UFC and Muscle Farm,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what's the story with that? How far back does that
Absolutely,
relationship
absolutely.
date?
So I came into the company about late 2015, and they had a lot of partnerships. They had Arnold Schwarzenegger, they had Tiger Woods, and obviously we all know the UFC. They had their the big MP in the Octagon. They were one of the first people to really sponsor the UFC and get behind fighters, which was great at the time because a lot of these fighters were not getting paid at the time, and they sponsored, I think, everybody in the UFC. And again, it led to Muscle Farm being a really, really great brand, and everyone know it. But unfortunately, spending all that money, I came into the company to restructure the company. I love the company for the marketing and the distribution, but obviously, as you
And
know,
the product at the time, did you like the product?
one of the things that I noticed when I went to Costco, and Costco predated me, is I couldn't believe how great the product tasted.
Yeah, it's amazing. You used to send me those bars. They were incredible. I remember just like the first off, the size of them, they were insane, but they
now.
they had every
Hey.
flavor. What a massive bar, bro.
What a massive
What a
bar.
massive bar you guys had. bro.
Hey.
Hey, there you go. Move
Is your
away.
bar still big, Ryan, or did it shrink?
No, it's still a great product. I think one thing about the Muscle Farm product is you can taste and feel the product, which is great. And again, I'm very excited for you guys to,
Well,
taste
you
our
have a new
beverage.
product with you, right?
Absolutely. And it's a great product. I wanted to get into
Why don't we try it, man? So why don't you tell us about it? Was it an
Absolutely.
energy
Has
drink?
this been released, or are we debuting it right now?
Absolutely. I like to explain the partnership, which I think is a
Yo,
a
is
real
any
super
are any
part.
fighters gonna like flunk a fucking drug test if they
No.
Would it pass it with Sodom Muster? Your
Yeah.
drink?
There's no testosterone or growth hormone in it, so we're good.
So what is this? What am I drinking? Can we see the can?
Yeah, but here I can explain the can. Love to talk about it.
Yeah, we talk about it.
Absolutely. So it's MP Combat Energy.
Combat
Again,
Energy.
Combat. So Combat's known throughout the world. We're in Costco. We're in Amazon. We're
Yo,
in
that's really good,
Yep,
man.
Yep. So the great thing about this product is we're using our name, the MP Combat name, but the great thing is the partnership. So we're the first company that are partnering with true leaders in the beverage industry. The two people that I partnered with are the former 1 and 2 in command of Rockstar. I believe, this is great. So I believe that you have to partner with the best. One of the things I do in the business is I don't think I know everything. I don't know everything. I want to partner with people to understand. And one of the great things that I learned at Rockstar is they're the number 3 brand, by the way, behind Red Bull and Monster. They didn't spend a tremendous amount of money on marketing, but they produced one of the best products. And what they did is they took their formula, they got the sweetness and the flavor, the sweetness and flavor, and they added
Yeah,
to
how
our
much
product.
sugar's in this fucking
Okay,
thing?
0 sugar.
Really?
Just 0.
Excellent.
So let me tell you about this. They produced a product, very light in carbonation, a tad sweet.
What do they do? They count the
Tad
bubbles
sweet.
on carbonation?
Yeah,
How do they
yeah,
do that?
absolutely. Yeah,
Do they?
Yeah.
That's sick.
The Keeblers do. So basically, they made a perfect blend of carbonation and sweetness. And what we use our BCAA Muscle Farm product. What that means is
The BCAA shit's really good, man. I
What,
like
what
it.
happens is, and I have
I
the
like the
product right there.
pre-workout,
Yeah.
too.
What the great thing is you get the energy, but you don't get the jitters.
I hate the jitters. That's why I
I
don't.
love
know
the
it.
jitters.
Yeah, no,
I fuck with the
crackhead.
jitters.
Only
Yo,
late
you know what would
night.
be
Only
sick?
late night. Only late
Nathan,
night.
yo, we should throw a little bit of indigo in here. Indigo gin and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Nathan, you're not supposed to have dialogue.
You fucking schmuck.
Where'd you get this guy? He spilled it everywhere.
Yo, this thing's awesome, Nathan. We should throw a little bit of indigo gin in there and see how it tastes. Ryan, you down with that?
Huh?
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Let's throw some indigo in there.
Yeah, taste it.
Tell us about the pod you guys are going to do real
Absolutely,
quick, too.
absolutely. So we're going to be doing a podcast called The CEO and the Pro.
Nice.
I'm
I
not
thought it was the pro and
obviously.
the CEO.
Well, you wanted that, but I changed it very quick.
Yeah.
You wanted the pro, but I like the CEO better than the pro. So one of the great things about TJ, and I think Rob knows well, like I have a lot of interest, right? I have a lot of interest. I just don't know about fighting. I know about fashion. I know about art. I know about design. I know about everything, luxury
Wine,
goods,
cigars,
wine,
vacation destinations.
Yeah, and one of the great things is I want to share with our audience, and TJ, to be quite honest, knows a lot too.
Yeah.
So TJ and I'll sit down. You wouldn't think we're two fighters sitting down. Oh, I'm just a hobbyist, but whatever.
You
we're the
called
two
yourself
people.
a hobbyist. I'm not calling anybody
Once you get to that point,
I
you're
never-
no longer
yeah.
a hobby.
So
Yeah,
let me
he
tell
says
you what's
it,
great.
yeah.
So we sit down, we talk about fashion, we talk about art, we talk about lifestyle, and one of the things we want to do for the show is we want to bring an approach of handling adversity. Because just as he's handled, I've handled so much adversity with Muscle Farm. It was so tough to restructure this business.
of course.
So we want to tell our story. And the same thing, when I was younger, I went to school, and a lot of my teachers told my family, he's never going to amount to anything. He's
Wow.
never going to amount to
my
anything.
teachers told my parents that all
I
the
was
time,
not
too.
a student.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I was
not
a
student.
D- student.
So one of the things I've always remembered is, and one of the things TJ told me is, I wasn't the most athletic, and I definitely wasn't the smartest, but I'll work harder than
hardest
anybody
worker in
else.
the room.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that's really important.
That's key. Of
course.
That we want to project from our podcast. We want to have fun. We want to have people on, and then we'll have a speed round where someone can ask anything they want.
TJ Dillashaw, thanks for joining us, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, man. Yo, so Ryan's been telling us a little bit about what you guys got going on. I think a couple big congratulations to you. One, obviously, in your return to the octagon. Successful
Impressive
return.
performance, yes.
Yes. Congrats.
Appreciate it, man.
O'Neal, did you see the fight?
No.
O'Neal watches one fight per
He
year.
was watching Jake Paul.
Dude, we watched a show called
He's like,
Easy. We watched a show called Easy. Okay, so
He's like, I go, your successful return. Sean says, impressive. And you go, awesome. And TJ, in your new position, working with Ryan on Muscle Farm, yeah, it's amazing, man. You know,
Head
it's,
of business development and marketing over there, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Has that always been something that's interested you, you know, in an entrepreneurial kind of way to get more involved in a corporate kind of?
I wouldn't say that's like my first idea of what I was gonna do, but it just kind of came hand in hand with my career. You know, I mean, the UFC does a great job of promoting us as a business, like our names and who we are. And so I treat my career, you know, I'm the CEO of TJ Dillashaw Inc. And I got to, you know, market myself the right way. I got to get myself involved in businesses the right way. And so I became friends with Drexler, seeing what he's been able to do with Muscle Farm and how business minded he is. And he wanted to bring me on board to use my marketing skills that I've done for myself, or like for my clean juice store, things like that, to use that same mentality within Muscle Farm. And so I'm excited to get to push for the next chapter of life, right? Like I'm fighting now, still competitive, going to get my belt back, do everything is great there, but also focus on what's next. You know, what am I going to do when I decide to hang this thing up? I'm 35 years old, and you know, I got to be smart and start thinking about those things.
Yeah, you know, we just actually talked with Rashad Evans a little while ago, and we were talking about the evolution of the game and the mindset of the fighters in the sport, and you know, and I think that, you know, it's coming to that time where people are starting to look at the marketing opportunities, but more importantly, the exit strategy, right? Because it's not, you know, you're not in it for like a long-term career, you know what I mean? If you're fighting 10 years, that's a fucking haul, man. There's a lot to put yourself through. It's like an NFL player as well, you know? So to be able to look at it and go, what am I going to do beyond this, and where are the skills you have? I mean, I think that's a big part of the asset, right?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I mean, I've been fighting for 12 years now. You know, I've been in the UFC for over 10. So it's already been a long career, and I'm excited to continue to put a exclamation point on that career, you know, and be the only 3-time champ. But we have to learn so many business development ideas through our, because the sport's so new, right? Like I don't have a business manager. I don't have all these, like I'm not getting brought into an NFL team where they have everything for us. Like I have to develop everything myself,
Right,
you know?
right.
We get 1099. I'm my own businessman. And so I've had to learn a lot. It's like going to business school, to be honest. You know, you make these mistakes, you learn from it. You learn what companies you want to get involved with, what's great for your image, what isn't good for your image. And it teaches you a lot. As long as you're paying attention, you're a smart guy, you can learn a lot through what people have done and also what you've done yourself.
Yeah, it's like modeling and profiling. I mean, listen, man, I'm delayed to learn. You know, I mean, I'm coming at it from the creative side of being a writer and a director, and for me, it's like I didn't have a head for business. I just wanted to create shit, and then as I got older, you start to realize, you go, I gotta kind of look at the whole pie, you know, and it's really on me to take care of me, and to pick up that responsibility and to do something with it. You know, there is no like, you know, writers association that's going to take care of me someday. So, I mean, I guess we have a guild, you know, fortunately, with a good pension if you work and you put into it. But you guys don't have that yet, you know. It's not structured that way. And even the NFL cats, like, they're still fighting for, you know, a lot of different stuff and healthcare and various issues that we actually addressed on the show. I did Ballers. So, you know, I think it's like, listen, man, you guys are a special breed of human. To be able to go out there and be a warrior like that, and to entertain, and you know, it's got to come back around for you guys in the long run.
I actually want to talk about your last fight, because to me that was probably the most impressive performance I've seen in the UFC this year, considering the layoff, considering how active Sanhagen's been. There's some jitters, something like, you know, hey, I'm coming back. This kid, you know, he's active. He's going in there and fighting everybody.
Man, the reality of competitive sports is there's both those voices in your head.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like you got to go in there as confident as you possibly can, know you're coming back, getting your belt. And I have that image. I have that vision. I have that belief. But also at the same time, you got this little voice in the back of your head saying like, fuck, man, you haven't been fighting for 2 years. You're on this big layoff. You know, there's a lot of pressure on you coming back, the suspension, all the bullshit on your name. You know, there's all that there as well too. And so you got to go in this battle in your own fucking head of who's going to be that TJ Dillashaw coming out there, you know?
Right.
And I knew the kid's tough. I trained with him for 3 years out in Colorado. I actually moved out and joined Muscle Farms team out in Colorado, and I trained with the kid a bunch, right? So I knew where he was weak. I knew that he didn't have my mentality. I knew he wasn't as tough as I was, wasn't as well-rounded as I was, but he's on this pedestal. He's at 2 big knockouts.
Right.
He's pumping them up. So for me, it was a great return. You know, I knew that, to be honest, I think that was the real title fight, me coming back.
Definitely. I agree. For sure.
He's better than the guys that I'm going to fight for the belt, in my opinion. And so it was a tough test, man. And I came into that fight more injured than I ever have in the past. You know, but I couldn't let that be known because I was still going to fight. You know, I had a torn MCL on my right knee. I had cuts in my right eyebrow coming in, which I reopened.
What is that thing that's going through your head? What is the most common thought process, if you could put, like, if you could self-analyze in that way?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're born with your mental toughness for a lot of it, right? You can develop it along the way, you can learn it, but a lot of it you're born with and how you're raised. But for me, it's how much fucking hard work I put in, you know? I'm one of those guys that wants to be the best at whatever I do.
Right.
And so I put in a ton of work. And by putting in that much work, you don't want it to go to waste. You don't want it to be for nothing. So that's that mentality for me, I think. I think that's where that comes from, is just that I know that no one's going to outwork me. No one's going to practice.
So for you, it's earned. In your head, I've earned this shit. I've earned it. I'm going to get mine. I work for it. This is my shit. I'm going to get it.
100%, man. I mean, I wasn't always the most athletic kid. I mean, I've always been athletic, but I wasn't like my little brother. Like, he was just naturally gifted at wrestling. He fucking won everything he did, right? And so when the going got tough, in my opinion, it was harder for him to, like, push through that. But when I was a kid, like, I had to wake up early and run. I had to do all this shit and, like, really make myself mentally tough, go through those defeats and be at the bottom, but to be able to push through and get to the top. And I think those are the most dangerous people. You know, the people that
People have grinded their way up step by step.
Yeah, go through those adversities. You know, that's like when my suspension happened and all the world crashed on me. It's like I didn't let that shit beat me. You know, I wasn't gonna let my mistake define who I am. I was gonna come back and prove that I'm the best in the fucking world, man.
Yeah. Right. So you said that you're 35 years old. You've been doing this for like 12 years. Are you starting to feel like a little bit of the wear and tear? Like, do you get up in the morning, you be like, oh shit, that leg feels fucked up?
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, I'm 35 years old, feel like I'm going on 45. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been crushing my body for a long time now.
Right.
You know, putting it through the grind. I mean, I've been wrestling since I was 8 years old. There hasn't been a year I haven't competed until, you know, those 2 years I had off from suspension. You know,
Gotcha.
So yeah, man. I mean, I definitely feel it, but it hasn't slowed me down. You know, it's that same kind of mentality that I work too hard for this shit.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of suspension, I mean, when you're sitting out on the sidelines for those 2 years, you know, obviously it's got to be difficult for anybody. Clearly, you know, you're not the first guy to be in that situation. You won't be the last guy to be in that situation. We got Nick coming back right after a 5-year suspension this weekend. What is the feeling? I'm going to try to articulate what I'm thinking, but, you know, I'm assuming there has to be some feeling where you feel as if you are being discredited for being a great fighter, knowing damn well that those test results aren't really an indication of the skill set, but it's just giving people an opportunity to take advantage of that. You know what I mean? It's like the weed shit, right? You know, it's like, well, how the fuck is using cannabis actually gonna fucking improve somebody's game?
It's like, you in here for some marijuana?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But what is that has to continue to inspire you to prove the doubters wrong. There's all assumption.
Yeah, man, you got to use that feel, right? You got to say that they hate us because they ain't us, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They hate us because they ain't us. That's so true.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just no matter what, no matter how. I mean, you're gonna be successful. You're gonna have haters.
Right,
you know.
Right.
If you don't have them, then you ain't doing shit right.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, unfortunately, I gave them a lot of fuel, but you still got to keep that same mentality.
Right.
So who are some of the fighters like coming up? Did you look up to? You know, like a lot of athletes, they say, well, you know, the basketball players, it's Michael Jordan. If you're a boxer, it's Mike Tyson or whoever. Who was that fighter when you saw him? You was like, dude, I gotta get on that level.
Yeah, I'd say probably George St. Pierre. You know, I feel like he was the first one to really treat it like a true professional athlete. Like he took every aspect of martial arts and strength conditioning. He's doing gymnastics. He's worrying about his diet. Like he was like the true professional in my mind when I was coming up in this thing, right? So I started watching UFC from day one, but I got it really into it when The Ultimate Fighter came out, just like everyone. But then watching George St. Pierre's reign and how he treated the sport was like, damn, that's how you got to do it, and that's how everyone has to do it, right? But he was ahead of his time, and so for me, he was the guy. How professional he was about it. I bring in the best coaches in the world. I bring the best dietitians in the world. I set up my own training camps around who I'm fighting. My team is insane, and I cut no corners when it comes to that. I'm going to take every aspect of that. If it's my recovery, if it's you're working with the right strength conditioning coach and him and you, my diet, testing my hormone levels, making sure what toxins I have in my body. I mean, everything, man. I'm not going to leave no stone unturned because I know it's going to make me just that much better.
Right.
And that much better than I'm, it's in doing the job, getting that 1% done better every day.
And what's your recovery time? Like, you have a fight like that. Obviously, your adrenaline is rushing. You're going for the kill. There's victory. What is your recovery? What does the next couple days look like after a fight like that?
Man, it depends on the fight, right? I mean, like I've had fights where I fight 7 days later,
But Sandhagen, you be feeling
Oh,
that?
that last one. Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I was gonna
I
say.
feel like when I woke up, I got hit by a truck. It's by far the most damage I've.
Bro, TJ was trucking through that fight.
I saw it,
man.
bro. It
That
was fucking bananas,
That
man.
was crazy.
So
bananas.
I completely blew out my knee the last 10 seconds of that first round.
Yeah, I remember.
There was like a little scramble situation where he tried to get to his feet, and I tried to stay on top a little too long, and I blew out my LCL. I tore my medial, my lateral meniscus, and I tore my PCL.
I remember that.
I remember I walked back to that corner after the first round. I sat down. I was like, dude, my knee's fucked. And so they're asking me questions like, don't worry about it. They want to put ice on it. I was like, nah, I ain't going to help. You know what I mean? Like, it's completely dislocated.
Yeah.
Remember that second round, I came out a lot more flat-footed, and that's when I got cut.
Yeah.
I took his back. I tried throwing my hooks in, and my knee completely dislocated again. I had to – there was a point where I had his back. I went to go throw my hooks in, and instead of going for the choke, I had to, like, push myself off of him and give up the position. Like, who gives up back position?
I was wondering that too. Yeah, I was like,
it was so fucked, man. I mean, every time I take his back too and I'm on the feet, like I couldn't lift and return to the mat because I was on one wheel, man. So I had to beat the number one contender on one leg.
I get a hangnail, and when I tell you the pain, the emotions that I
tell
go
them
through.
about you walked last night. You walked to Top
we
Golf
walked
and back.
from Park MGM to
Dude.
Top Golf
Dude, I got
and back. And he said, I can't feel my feet.
Dude, my fucking feet, I have flat feet, no arches. I swear to God, I feel like I was walking for freedom. My shit.
I get it. I see it.
My shit was fucked up. Like, I got back to my room, I swear to God, I elevated my feet like I was Betty
You
White.
need an ice. Betty White.
Yo, TJ, man. What like just in a kind of big macro sense, what are your hopes? Not necessarily they're not personalized to you, but if you could have your vision realized, what would be your vision for 10 years down the road, the way the sport looks? Like, what changes in terms of how the sport continues to evolve? Not necessarily UFC, but just MMA, professional fighting on that level as a whole. Where would you like to see it go?
I mean, man, the UFC's taken it there. Everything they've done has been the right moves. You know what I mean? Like, the way they've grown this sport is insane. Dana White, the Fertitta brothers now, WME taking it over. I mean, they've done everything to propel our careers and get us on the map. I mean, we're more recognizable than NFL players or maybe NBA players because of what they do with their social media. Everyone wants to talk crap about, like, us being 1099, not being employees, but you got to also look on the other hand side of things and take advantage of the opportunity they're giving us, Right. And it's just going to continue to evolve. I mean, they're going to continue to, there's eventually going to be some sort of, I guess you'd say union or something like that. It's going to be like fighter, like insurance and things like that. But I mean, I'll tell you what, they've done a great job of speeding this thing up to get to where it's at.
Yeah, it's been just an insane evolution so far, and I think a big part of it is everything got shut down in this fucking pandemic, and Dana figured out how to pivot and move through and get those fights going, and he gave people something to watch that was at least new to some people, right? The rest of us got to see something that we love seeing, and so I got to give much credit to him for that. So
I mean,
so for me, 10 years would be like, damn, let's get this in the Olympics, or let's
right.
let's just keep pushing the weight. I mean, it's just it's crazy to see the change, even just me being in the sport for the last 12 years. You know, it's just crazy that we're on ESPN. You know, my fight was watched by millions on ESPN.
Yeah,
and that's just crazy. When it used to be, damn, we got a Spike TV deal. You know, so
it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. You've gotten to come up with it. You kind of answered part 2 of the question, which would be, where do you see yourself 10 years? But you kind of already said it. You know, you look into the future, building your brand, health and wellness, alongside Ryan with Muscle Farm and whatever other ventures you're going to get into. But
I mean, Ryan's making my job easy, man. Coming into a company that has been developed as well as it is, and the plans he has and moving forward. He's made it easy for me to see my future and what I'm going to be able to do. So I got to thank Ryan for that, for always being a friend and having my back on that realm. And I'm excited to put in some hard work and watch this thing grow.
I mean, the great thing about TJ, he's a true martial artist in and out of the cage. What I always looked up to him as is when you see him outside the cage and how he interacts with people, you would never know he was a fighter. You would never know. He doesn't have the attitude. But when he trains, he is the most gritty guy you've ever seen. When he fought Sandhagen, I knew when he got cut open, he was going to survive and he was going to win that fight. Because people don't know. People don't know that about TJ. TJ, they think he's a one-trick pony. But he's one of the only athletes in the UFC that's a true martial artist.
Right.
He's a fighter.
Right.
He's a real fighter. And he's a really good athlete. And he sticks to a game plan.
Right.
Which you don't see a lot in the UFC.
Yeah, of course not.
And in that fight, I'm glad people saw what I always saw in TJ.
Yeah.
And not only that, but TJ is an unbelievable marketer. I mean, TJ and I are going to have a podcast called The Pro and the CEO. And again, TJ and I consider TJ a renaissance man. Fighting is not the only thing that TJ does.
Right.
TJ has so much interest in other things. And I know Rob knows me for a long time, and I have a lot of interest. So when I sit down and talk to TJ, we talk about a lot of things. Again, I love the fight game. I'm just a hobbyist. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I look up to TJ, what he does. I know how hard it is, the adversity he has to go through. So I'm really excited to have this podcast with him because we're going to talk about a lot of different things. It's just not going to be the fight game. It's going to be adversity. And again, we're going to have fun and talk about people. You know, the Dylan Dennis got beat up in the bar by a bouncer, like a little baby.
Is that true? When did that happen?
Yeah, he got beat up and arrested.
When was that?
Lose.
Yeah, he tried to fight a bouncer. The bouncer beat him up and threw him down on the floor like a rag doll.
I mean, is anybody surprised?
Well, it's funny because TJ and I speak about this, like the Jake Paul people and everything else. And I understand because people come up to me, again, I'm just a hobbyist. I've competed. I've trained jiu-jitsu for 14 years. But I understand a part of the grind, and people don't understand that. These people train. These people train every day, and the regular people out there don't understand. And it's almost insulting because you look at TJ, and you can't believe it. You can't believe how he trains and how he acts outside the cage.
Yeah.
And his marketing skills.
Yeah, he's a consummate professional.
He absolutely is. And the marketing skills, he's so smart when it comes to business. That's why I approached TJ and I said, TJ, we got to do this together. The one thing Muscle Farm, why we separate ourselves up from our competition, we live the lifestyle at this company. If you see some of these bigger companies, you'll see these executives, these dorky guys in the suits. The people in this company, the executives, live the lifestyle. TJ and I live the lifestyle.
Right.
We actually go out there. I like mountain biking. I surf. Jiu-jitsu, obviously, I train 3 days a week. But TJ's the same thing. And we talk about everything. I mean, TJ and I like fashion. I mean, we're men. We could talk about that.
Of course.
I mean, we have a lot of interest. So we're really going to explore that on the podcast. And we're going to talk to people. And one of the things I think that we're both good at, we have a lot of information. So we want people to ask information about everything. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited and honored that he's joining
we're
the
excited for
company.
that too, man.
That's
dope.
Cool.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
Yep,
And I love the title. That's an awesome name for a show.
well,
The
it's
Pro
great.
and the CEO?
Yeah, that's great.
Because we both handled, we had a lot of adversity.
Or is it the CEO and the Pro?
Whatever it is. He's the pro. He goes to
Yeah, he gets top billing. TJ gets
Top
top
billing.
billing.
Of course he does.
I vote TJ for top billing.
That's
Good.
right.
I should be. He's worked hard enough. He's got his
Yeah.
knee, his eye,
Yeah.
So TJ, quick question before we wrap this up. How do you guys feel about the Jake and the Logan Pauls? They're coming in. There's so much hype. There's so much money being thrown at these guys. And you guys, like Ryan said, who really lives this
Put in the work.
lifestyle.
Yeah, really put in
and
the
really
work.
train and really eat, sleep, shit this. How do you feel about these guys coming in and all this hoopla?
It's hard, man. There's mixed emotions in it, right? Obviously pissed because I want what's mine, right? I want to get paid like that. I want that
And you
shit.
want what's theirs.
Yeah, yeah.
I want mine. I want yours. I want it all, motherfucker.
All of
That's
it.
fighting, right? That's exactly fighting right there. But we got to turn around. Like, there's that many fucking eyeballs that watch that fight. You know what I mean? Like, they put the marketing in there. They pump this thing up. They build their brand from however long. So, you know, I could be jealous all I want, but there's truth behind the numbers.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah, but the smartest thing they do on that shit is they do it Sunday night programming. It might be tougher, obviously, with NFL, but, you know, a non-NFL Sunday night, you're like, fuck it, why not?
But TJ, you're the man, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
brother.
you so
Really,
much
congrats
for coming
on that. You're fucking
We're
awesome,
so
man.
excited to see you recapture that belt again. We know you're
Yes.
going to do it. And
yeah.
we're so excited to see everything.
Yeah,
you
we
got
can't wait
planned
to
next.
go, man. We're going to take the Muscle Farm jet to
Oh,
the
for
fight,
sure.
and we're going to sit
For
ringside
sure.
in the Muscle Farm section.
Yes.
I like
Right,
it.
Ryan?
Right,
Yeah, let's get
Ryan?
Ryan
Let's
over.
go. Right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do
Get
it.
him to agree. It's a binding contract.
Because, you know,
right
Muscle
there.
Farm knows how to treat their friends the right way.
Yeah, I want that muscle
no,
farm jet. I like
no.
that idea.
There you go.
There you go. Now it's a thing. Now it's got to happen.
Muscle
Not on
Farm
this thing.
jet, bro, 100%.
That was the old executive. Not this one.
That's great. TJ, thank you so much, man. You're so amazing. We look forward to seeing you do all these great things. We're excited for the pro and the CEO. And we got to have you again. This time we got to be in person. We got to hang out.
Yeah, you guys out in Vegas, huh?
We're in Vegas this week for the International Fight, but we're regularly in Los Angeles.
Got you, man. I'm an OC, so I'm right down
Oh,
the street.
perfect.
Oh, awesome.
Definitely.
Oh,
nice.
through, man.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right, my
Appreciate-
man. Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Oh, my God.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks. All right, we are here for part 2 of our International Fight Week special with the boss of all bosses, one of my idols, Mr. Dana White.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for coming
Absolutely.
on.
Of course, man. You know, you got a crazy schedule. Find time, you know, jump in with us. Very grateful. So.
No, anytime, man. No,
And especially during international. I mean, fight weeks are hectic in general, but international fight weeks like the Super Bowl for
Yeah.
for MMA, and for you to take the time to come hang out with us, we really
and then
appreciate
with
it.
all the shit that's going on right now, you know, just the fight business is tough enough to keep a fight on, you know,
Yeah.
with injuries and all the other shit.
Right.
And then now you got visa issues,
Right.
borders being shut down, COVID, and all
Some
the
fighter
shit.
controversies in the last 24
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, that's it.
Trending, hitting headlines, you know.
Yeah.
Some make the papers, you know. Some make it, some don't. It's a
Yep.
lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot for you to juggle, you know.
There's bad shit that just pops up every day in this business. So
There's
you
bad
just
shit
gotta,
popping up everywhere.
You got to roll with it and figure it out.
I think that's a mindset, you know. I mean, you have that mindset. I don't want to get too far into psychology because we'll eat up all the time talking about what goes on in your head. But you are a guy who can really drive through some controversy and other complicated things, you know. If
Well-
you had to put that in one line, what do you attribute it to?
Well, my thing is there's a solution to every problem.
Right.
You know, to just say, it was like the COVID thing when COVID started.
Right.
I couldn't believe that people were just willing to fucking hide in their houses.
Right.
And the thing that's the saddest part.
I did it, man. I killed the battery
I
on my
did it for
fucking
a while,
road, bro.
too.
They had to bring my car didn't start for 2 months, bro. I was like wrapped up in.
But
yeah.
for me, there's just such a different. First of all, I've got 600 and something fighters under contract,
Right.
right?
And a ton of
I have
employees
350
also, right?
employees that work for me.
Right.
And some of these people have been with me 18, 15,
Right.
10, 8 years, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, I mean, you guys are in the business, you know, if you're in the production world, you live in New York or you live in LA.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody lives in Vegas, man. And to get
Right.
talented people to come out here, you know, we have one of the biggest production facilities in Nevada.
Right.
And these people believed in me.
Right.
They made the move to Vegas. They came to work for the UFC. They believed in the vision. And the minute the shit hits the fan, I'm going to go hide in my big house,
Exactly.
They're all looking to
Yeah.
you.
cut,
Yeah.
lay you off,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Because business 101 is what you do in a case like this is you lay off 30% of your staff. You tell all your highest paid guys we're going to cut your salaries in half.
Right.
And you know, we'll see how this thing plays out.
Right.
That's
Yeah, you got
what
all-
I'm going to do to my people.
And you got all these other guys who are doing that and grabbing the loot from the government, and you know they're figuring out how to
Yeah.
profit on it. No, man. I mean, I think what you did is incredible, and you know it's incredible for all of us who are such fans of the sport. The sport.
And there were
that-
so many hiccups along the way. Like you were going against politics, all these
Oh, yeah.
things. I mean, you
Oh, yeah.
would get a venue and these guys would come out of nowhere and try to shut it down and sniff
Exactly.
it out. And
You are absolutely right, brother.
And I just-
all these scumbag,
Yeah.
dirty,
Yeah.
fucking sneaky weasels behind the scene,
you're working
trying
around
to
the
shut us
clock.
down
Yeah.
from the media,
Yeah.
to other promoters, to networks.
It's crazy because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's a lot of shit to look at and go, how the fuck are all these people keeping secrets? Because there are those movements that don't make sense. You gave people something to watch that was new and fresh and to, you know, the fighters they root for. We have a relationship with Tony Ferguson,
Yeah.
seeing Tony out there. You know,
Yep.
it was inspiring,
I'll
man.
never forget that week in Jacksonville when I went out with Tony. I mean, I had people calling me from high school that I haven't spoken to in years saying, like, this is history right here. Like, Dana White, this is the only sporting event in the world right now. I mean, it felt like being a part of something, you know, it was nuts.
And you know what, watching NBA, you kind of felt like, you know, they were all in lockdown, you know, it just missed the vibe. Somehow you managed to make the fights, even minus the crowd, still got you going, you know? What was
Right.
kind of crazy is the fighters could hear the guys, the commentators.
Now
and
it's,
like,
it's
you know,
cool.
yeah.
I like the Apex fights. I
Yeah.
like
Me
experiencing
too.
it like that. I hope that stays like that for a long
Well, I
forever.
knew that would probably be the case because we'd done the Ultimate
Right.
Fighter.
Yes.
Where
Right.
you're inside
Yes,
this
you're
basically
there.
like a warehouse, and
Right,
it's just
right.
got a different cool feel to it. You hear everything.
Right.
You know, from the fighters talking shit to each other to the punches, the kicks,
Right.
the corner men,
The heavy breathing.
the
You can see
breathing.
who's
I mean, you can
tired
hear
and who's
everything.
not. You can always
Slams when
tell.
they slam onto the
Yeah.
canvas. But I'll tell you the coolest UFC story I've ever heard. So I'm on a call the other day with Jerry Jones and his daughter. They're doing this this charity for the military that
Right,
they wanted me to get involved in, and the president of the company that they hired was an astronaut.
Right.
So as soon as the call's getting over, the guy's name's Chris something. I can't remember his last name, but he's like, Dana, I have a story for you. I'm an astronaut. And during the pandemic, I was in the space station.
Right.
He said it was me and 3 Russian guys up in the space station. And we were going crazy up there. So they were beaming us the UFC fights because it was the only thing that was on.
That's sick.
And he said, you guys were on Fight Island, so there were a lot of Russians on the card, too.
Right.
We would get so excited for the fights, and, you know, we would watch the fights for 4 hours, and then that's all we talked about the rest of the night.
Right.
But you created this event during the pandemic where Russians and Americans could get together and be just as excited about it. And I was just like, that is the fucking coolest UFC story that I've ever heard.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
They're watching it
Yeah.
on the fucking space station.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was badass.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
is dope,
amazing.
man. Those things would definitely drive me, you know. I mean, I think we're in those kind of businesses where we get to make those impressions and get a response from people, and that just continues to propel you forward, right? You know
Yeah,
what
it
I
was-
mean? When you're seeing shit that works, you know. But you had to have also seen opportunity in terms of business. Like, it's crazy. I know you know Jay Giannone, he was a friend of yours, and he was telling us a little bit about you going back and forth from Boston to Vegas, you know, and being young like that. But you have this incredible business mind, you know, and I'm curious to know where the hell that comes from. But to see that opportunity, you had to know, I'm guessing, that you would grow your audience. If you could get through all that shit, if I could get through all this, we're going to come out of this pandemic with it definitely expanded.
Well, every Saturday, right?
Right.
My competitor is, I'll take you,
Right.
okay? My competitor is your wife, your
Right.
girlfriend, your kids,
Right.
a new movie that comes out over the
Right,
weekend,
right.
Yeah.
any other sporting event,
Right,
whatever takes
right,
your
right, right.
attention away
Yep.
on a Saturday is my competition.
Right.
If I could figure this out through COVID,
Right.
I'm the only fucking game on earth.
Exactly.
There's no movies coming out. There's no sporting events.
Right.
They're playing reruns of
Everybody's on a different side of the house than the wife. Everybody's in different rooms.
They're playing
Yeah.
NBA games from 2005
Yeah,
and shit
yeah,
on
yeah,
TV.
yeah, it's crazy,
You know what I
man.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you could pull it off, you would be the only game in
Right,
town.
right.
And our business grew, you know,
Yeah.
unbelievably through the
when
pandemic.
When
I
there's
believe
not a
it, man.
fight
I
night on a
believe it.
Saturday, I feel lost. I
Yeah,
don't know what to
yeah.
do. He calls me, he's like, "You coming over for the fight?" I'm like, "There's no fight today." He's like, "So what are we gonna do?" I'm like, "I have no idea." So
Yeah,
it's
I
just-
feel like
it's a ritual for us.
I
every
feel
week.
like I'm OG because obviously I know Ari, you know, and haven't been involved in Entourage, and we put Liddell on. I met Chuck Liddell through a friend. That's how we wound up with Chuck on, and that was still in its kind of earlier stages
Earlier
of
stage,
UFC,
right.
right? It's not the early Dan
Yeah, yeah.
Severn days.
No, you're right. It's the early
But-
stages of our UFC that
Right,
we've
right,
been.
Chuck
right.
Tito
So I
days,
feel
yeah.
like I've been in it since then as a fan, right, and a spectator, and then Shawn too, and like we're doing this shit all the time. But now it's like, it's a part of conversation. Everybody's kind of in it now.
Everyone.
Guys, girls, all walks of life. Everybody fucks with UFC. We walked through a place with Tony Ferguson. We walked through that place last night with Nate Diaz and Frankie, you know, also. And we're going through there. They're stopping every 2 seconds.
Every
Girls,
2
guys, yo,
seconds,
can we get a
yeah.
picture? We get a picture. So it's culture, man. Now you're not just like talking about sports. You're talking about culture and
Oh
an
no,
attitude.
you can
and
just
a
even
vibe.
tell from the elevator rides, just the conversation, the sidebar conversation. Everybody is talking about the fight, the excitement of the fight. You see the merch, the paraphernalia. It's like we're going to see the Beatles. You know, it's nuts. But with all that being said, in this crazy world you live in, where is Dana White's zen? Where do you find your peace when the phone stops ringing and you're chilling? Where do you find your peace?
Yeah, you know, I like to play blackjack, so I'll go somewhere, you know, and they have private rooms for me at either Caesars or Mandalay Bay, and I'll go play cards. And I got a place up in Maine. You know, if I really want to get out of here, I'll go to my place up in Maine, and I got all the toys and all the shit up there. So we go up there, and
awesome.
honestly, we get drunk for 3 or 4 fucking days straight, and then
Sounds good.
I don't really drink, you know,
yeah,
normally,
yeah.
but we'll go up to my place in Maine, and that's all we do is fucking drink and, you know, play and
So
hang
how
out
did
with the boys.
Howler head first? Because it's everywhere now. I mean, it's skyrocketing.
So during the
Yeah, you got your
pandemic,
cardboard cutouts. I said hello to
Yeah.
one yesterday. I was like, oh, that's not
All
fucking
over
Dana, man.
Vegas.
He's
I
like
love it.
6
Although I've seen
inches taller
Dana
than that
7
shit.
times this week
That's
already.
Yo, I had a cardboard cutout when I had my cigar brand with Davidoff, and like girls would like, and they were all over Vegas in the cigar kiosk. The girls would send me pictures like kicking the nuts and like flicking it and shit like that. You know, it's cool to have a cardboard cutout though, man. You know, I might make some for my house anyway. So where's it come from? I mean, it's just again opportunity.
so right before the pandemic started, me and The Rock were having dinner in New York.
Right.
And we're drinking and fucking around, and he just started his own tequila
Terramana,
company, right?
Yeah.
So I said, give me a piece of this thing. I'll promote the shit out of it for you. He's like, done, you're in. So a couple days later, he calls me, and he's like, dude, I'm so embarrassed. I don't have any more points to give in this thing.
Right.
I said, all good. You know, thanks for even, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, even offering to
Right.
make me a piece of it. So 3 days later, his agent, Brad Slater, calls me.
Yeah.
You know Brad?
I love
yeah,
Brad, man.
Best. So he calls me and says, you're not going to fucking believe this. The guy who owns Kirkland brand, you know
Right,
Kirkland?
of course, of course. Well,
So
Kirkland's the Costco thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they make everything on the planet.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So, well, this is the
Yeah.
guy that does the liquor for Kirkland.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And he says, this guy's looking to build a new brand, and he's
Right.
looking for a partner to build a brand with. And I said,
Right.
I got the guy. You got to go with Dana. So he and I got together. He's a Scottish guy.
Right.
His name's Steve Lipp. Good dude.
Right.
We hit it off, and he says, I'm going to send you some liquor.
Right.
And you tell me what you like and what you don't like and what you're
Right.
interested in. So he sends me all these boxes of liquor. So I had my secretary lay them all out on her desk.
Right.
I came out of my office, and I looked, and I went for the first 2 that attracted, you know,
Right.
that got my
Yeah,
attention first. And I went home. You know, this is during the pandemic.
Right.
So I had bartenders at my house, and I had them mixing drinks,
Right,
and
right,
I'm
right.
drinking and tasting all this stuff, and I ended up loving the Howler Head.
Right.
So I said, I'm into this Howler Head.
Right.
We ended up doing a deal, and
You got to love your product, man.
Yeah,
I
that's
did the
it.
same thing
Yeah.
with cigars. You know, they'll
Exactly
send you
right.
samples. I went out to Honduras. They were like, blend some shit. I tried to blend. They were like, you don't know dick about making a cigar.
Right.
But we'll send you stuff. You try it. Tell us what you like. And it's a cool process, man. Because obviously you got to like, you know, you're signing on it. So,
it's true, man. You can't sell something that you're really not into, that you
Right,
don't
yeah.
really
Of course,
like.
It'd be
Yeah.
fucked up
It
if you're in the
shows,
bar
too. It
ordering
shows
Jack
that you're
Daniels.
not
You know what I
into
mean?
it.
It's a
100%.
motherfucking
Yeah.
whiskey,
Let me
man.
tell you this. I'm going to tell you.
Dwayne's
just,
drinking that
well, you
Terramana
just said
shit.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Do you like Jack and Coke?
So I don't drink anymore, but when I was in my 20s, man, we were all Jack
You're
drinkers.
sober
Yeah.
now.
Well, I'm not sober. I just quit drinking. I still hit some weed every once in a while.
Yeah.
It was just, man, it was a vanity thing more than anything. And I got a 5-year-old kid, and I don't want to be hungover anymore in life. But Like, I'm not in a program, but I would go to a program. If if this town gets me to drink in the next 48 hours, I'll be at a meeting in LA on Monday.
That's some
But-
East Coast shit.
Yeah.
That's some East Coast shit.
But I was just
Everybody's
like-
got to go to a meeting or
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know.
But
That's
I was
so
just
funny.
like-
You don't hear that shit on
It
the
was
West
a
Coast.
weird-
On the
That's
West Coast,
yeah.
you hear, hey, where'd Billy go? Billy's in fucking rehab.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, you want to catch
East Coast
yourself
guys
on
go
the
to a
ladder,
meeting.
you know what I mean? You want to grab a couple rungs on the way down before they take you away, you know? But yeah, I mean, you know, there's parts of it I miss, but very, very few parts. It's nice to go out and have, like, I was a big Scotch guy, then I was a tequila guy and a red wine guy, but, you know, by the end of it, I'm just like, I was dumb. But like, I'll smell it. I'm gonna smell
If
your-
you
I'm gonna
drink
smell
Jack
your
and
whiskey.
Coke,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You try a Howler Head and Coke,
Yeah.
it fucking blows Jack and Coke out of the
Oh, I'm sure, man.
It's so
I'm
good,
sure.
it's scary.
I think Jack's only good when you're a teenager, or I think it expires on you by the time you're like 26. You know? What I
Yeah.
mean?
No. Until I
Jack
stopped
is
drinking
not a,
2
like-
years ago, Jack and Coke was my go-to
Really?
drink.
See, I
yes.
think Jack's like I don't know, man. It's like the dirty fucking whiskey. You know what I mean? It's like
I'm telling you right now, you
it's your
try a Howler Head and
excuse, you
Coke,
know? Yeah.
It's good.
you'll go to
Yeah.
a meeting in a couple
O'Neill's
fucking
gonna
days,
try
man.
it.
It's that good.
That's good.
I love
Yeah.
how I'm the guy that always had to experiment with the fucking
Well, you know,
liquor.
we've been going out. We've been going out
Every time
for.
he goes, like, O'Neill's going, like I'm Mikey or some shit. It's like, O'Neill's going to drink, but I will try it.
He's the only guy who
I'm
drinks.
telling you,
We're going out. We're going out.
you'll
Eight guys.
love it.
Eight guys to clubs the last 3 days. We got bottles. He's the only person who has a drink. Just like 7 dudes just
Where's the
standing
camera?
around like.
To my wife, he's lying. I haven't had one
No,
drink.
but you had like one drink.
Yeah, I had
that's
one drink,
it,
one
man.
drink.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
champagne.
one-
That's
that's
it.
it.
you
So,
know?
so it's Friday today. So I want to say I love Fuck It Friday. I watch
Thanks.
it every single
Yes,
week. I think
sure.
it should be its own show on
Yeah.
Vice Channel or Food
It
Network
is.
or something. Yeah.
We just did it. We
Good.
just did
there
a
you
deal.
go.
Oh, wow, okay.
I
We're-
wish
we're going
I
on
wish
the
I
Food
pitched
Network,
this to you a
6
year ago. I would
episodes.
have got a little co-producer credit, but yeah, I definitely because it's amazing and it's funny. How did that whole thing come to play?
I like food.
Yeah,
You know,
like me.
I
Okay.
like to eat all different types of food.
too.
You know, I like the shitty stuff though.
Me
I
too,
like
me too.
like when you go to the fair and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know what I
Colorful
mean?
food.
So we just started fucking around on social media with on Fuck It Fridays, and the thing just blew up and
Yeah,
took
it's
off, man.
genius.
And
Yeah.
so I ended up getting a deal from the Food Network for 6 episodes of Fuck It,
Amazing.
and they're calling it Fuck It Friday.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I think like since the birth, and maybe you could agree, disagree, but since the birth of social media, the people that are charismatic, interesting people who build the following could kind of move them wherever they want to go. So it's
true.
not crazy that you're sitting there going, here's an opportunity on that vertical. Dwayne's a perfect example, right?
100%.
And I worked with Dwayne, obviously, on bars. I love Dwayne. But Dwayne can fucking do anything.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hear this story?
Sure, man.
So me and him are out.
Right.
Fucking 10 years ago, whatever it is, and I said, I had Twitter.
Right.
I said, why are you not on Twitter?
Right.
He's like, I fucking don't get it. I just, like, you know. I said, dude, listen to me. You will be so fucking big on social media.
Right.
It'll be unbelievable. You have to get on social media, whatever. So I had a team, like
Right.
a social media team
Right,
that
right,
worked. I said, I'm going to have my team take care of you. They'll get you set up. They'll show you how to do it and everything else. He got on fucking social media, and the rest is history.
That's
Yeah, he's, you know what, man? Because you know what? It's crazy. He's really good with words.
He's
like
awesome.
Dwayne really puts it down. He knows how to get something across and connect.
Charismatic,
Yeah.
positive,
Yep.
Yeah.
fucking, you know, in the gym working out. He's a
Yeah.
fucking
Disciplined,
savage.
yeah.
When he gets ready for a role,
Yeah.
he ain't throwing on a fucking superhero suit.
Yeah.
He is the fucking superhero
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he just got ready for Black Adam,
Yeah.
you know, I've been friends with this dude for a long time.
Yeah.
Seeing all this shit, whatever. Did you see the shape he got into for Black Adam? I was texting him going, holy
Scary.
shit,
Yeah. Oh,
he's a
dude.
beast.
And have you ever seen anybody that works harder than this fucking guy? I mean,
He's-
movie
yeah.
after movie
Yeah,
after
it's
TV
insane.
show
Yeah.
after fucking
He's got a great team.
tequila,
Under
man.
Armour line, branding. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you have
tequila,
to, but you have
energy
to-
drink,
Yeah.
fucking, it just,
Ice
it never
cream,
ends.
yeah.
I think-
Shoes,
yeah.
Under Armour.
Yeah,
You're
it's
close with him, so you know the people around him, the Dannys and the Hirams and the other people.
Yeah.
You have to look at the scope of the full team. Same with yourself, man,
Sure.
because you have all these different vested.
And his ex-wife is
Interest.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
she's
Danny,
fucking
right?
brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So,
you know,
they have, like,
they bought the XFL. They're running that
Yeah.
whole
Yes.
thing up right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I'm looking
They're
forward
starting to
to
get
that.
out and selling
Yep.
teams and doing all
Yeah.
that shit.
I think what do you think as a CEO and a boss of such a successful business? How much do you attribute to empowering other people? How much is it to the way you structure a company in terms of, you know, getting shit done?
Yeah, it's
like
it's,
you
it's
have to be able
massive.
to delegate and be able to look at time management and where to put the resources, where not.
In
those
both
decisions.
sides of my business, it's about finding the right talent.
Right.
I have to find the right talent on the fight side,
Right.
and I have to find the right talent on the employee side.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying, I've got people that have been with me forever.
Right.
Right? The first time the shit hits the fan, we face real adversity, other than the regular business adversity that
Right.
you go through
Right.
every fucking
Right.
day.
Right.
The first time that we face real adversity, I'm going to lay my people off.
Right.
Well, now you're starting to see people going, oh, people aren't coming back to work. They're not doing this. Why
What do you
the
mean?
fuck
I'm an
would they-
investor in the
Why the
restaurant.
fuck
Yeah.
would
It's
I
been
come back
closed
to
for
work
years.
for
Yeah,
you?
you left me
Well,
in
When
this
shit hit the
position.
fan, you
Exactly.
fucking
I
cut my
bailed
throat
on
and
me,
sent me out the
100%.
fucking
But,
door.
but there's a lot of like restaurants shut down because it was hard with the unemployment to get people to come back when they're like, oh, I'm making just about the same amount. Kitchen staff's making the same amount on unemployment. They don't want to come in. So
But don't make
it
the
creates
fir-
like an apathy.
But don't make the first fucking decision you
Right.
make to let your fucking
Yes,
people go.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know
I
what?
agree, man.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you
I
got,
agree.
Captain,
maybe
you're- you know, yeah.
maybe you
Tough it
take a second out on your fucking house and you
Right.
pay your people and you don't forget what these people do.
See, I think
So
when
I
you
don't
have
wanna
these
shit.
keep
I don't
going,
want to
sorry.
shit on a bunch of fucking people that I
No,
used to
no,
work
do
for.
it, do it.
But
Do it, really. No, do
when
it.
I worked in the hotel business, I
Yeah,
worked in the
you're cool
hotel
with it,
business
yeah.
when I was young.
Yeah.
The hotel business is the shittiest fucking business on
Right.
earth. These people don't give a flying fuck about their employees, okay?
Right.
And what I always used to feel like when I worked there, it's that whole, you got some guy who's your boss who just graduated from college. He's fucking 24 years old.
Right.
Oh, you're 3 minutes late from lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're getting a warning. You're getting written up. You're
Right.
getting this.
Right.
And they always made you feel like, hey, there's a whole fucking line of people waiting for your job.
Yeah.
So you're always feeling like,
You're walking on eggshells.
You're not supported,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah.
I had a job
hated
like
that
that.
fucking
I had
job.
one job
Me too.
like that in Hollywood, man, and it sucked. So
Right.
I'm with you, man.
When people treat you
I had
like
to wear
that.
a fucking name badge, and it was just
I hire really talented, smart fucking people, right? They come in, and UFC might not have been their first, place that they wanted to work. They probably wanted to work for the NFL or something else, but they ended up getting sucked in to
Right.
the vision, to the sport, to how badass this fucking company really is,
Right,
and saw the potential for it, and they fucking followed me, and they believed me, and they came with me. Right here, the lady in the red dress,
Yeah.
the most talented fucking PR woman on the planet. She's been with me for 8 years, okay? She could work fucking anywhere, with anyone. She's with me. So, first time we face real adversity, I'm gonna fucking lay her off. I'm gonna send her and her fucking, there's no way in hell.
Right.
That's not the way I'm built.
Right.
Plus, this is fucking America.
Right.
Right?
Right.
America was built with a bunch of badass motherfuckers who
Right.
figured
Love it,
out
man.
Right.
solutions to
Yes,
problems.
exactly.
We didn't fucking run. We didn't
run.
hide.
Go, bro.
We
You
didn't
go.
write.
I'm on.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on in this country right now?
All right, I got much respect for you.
Absolutely.
For being transparent always about how you feel about shit. And we are in a very critical period where people's free speech is in question.
Right.
The extreme
It's true.
left, I'm a moderate guy, man. I'm like a centrist. I'm down the middle. I got fucking a million. I've met Trump. I liked the fucking guy when I met him. I thought he was cool as shit. I got a million friends who are Trump supporters. I got a million friends on the left, right? I don't want to shit on anybody. I want to try to understand where everybody's coming from and in terms of value systems, what's important to them. Now, I think that that's called meeting in the middle, right? And if we kind of get in the middle together and chop it up, you start to go, all right, I fuck with that. I understand this, that. You have been like super clear on even with the controversy about how you feel about shit. And I think that's important to have more guys out there that are actually doing that. Whatever side they fall on. That was a
here's the other
statement.
thing.
It wasn't a
Well,
question.
here's the thing. It doesn't matter what side you fall on. That's the
That's
other
what
thing
I'm
that's gotten
saying. I
all fucked
agree.
up right now.
It's
If
just-
you're a
speaking for
liberal and
yourself.
you're on the
Yeah.
other side, gives a shit. This is America. You
Listen,
can fucking be.
I'm a socially liberal guy. I'm a fucking New York Jew. But I've seen more of my liberal Democratic friends attack
Right.
my friends who were lean right
Yep.
than I have seen my friends who lean right attack my
them.
friends on
Yeah.
the left.
10 years
Just
ago,
a fact.
if
Yeah.
you asked me 10 years ago, I'd have told you I'm liberal.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The liberals have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah,
Right.
they have.
I
yes.
consider myself more conservative. Now, people think I'm a Republican.
Right.
I'm not a Republican.
Right.
I'm for the best fucking guy for the job.
I agree with you,
That's
man.
it.
And
You
I
know
think
what I
that
mean?
what's
and
best
the
for
thing
all
is with
people,
Trump,
yeah.
me and Trump have been friends for 20 years.
Right. Right.
And who they try to portray Trump as, he's not. He's not that guy.
Right.
But this is the game that they play.
Right.
You know, let's make him
That's the
look like
narrative
this.
they try to
it's the narrative,
spin.
the
Let's
media.
make these guys look like this, because everybody thinks that I'm a Republican.
Right.
Right.
First of all, I voted for Bush. The first time I didn't vote for Bush. The second, I voted for Obama the first time. I
Right.
did not vote for Obama the second time.
Right.
And I obviously voted for Trump.
Right.
You know, and you know, I lived in Boston for however many years.
Right.
Everybody's liberal in Boston, man.
Right.
There's some conservatives there, but most people are liberal.
Right.
And most of my beliefs and things that I believe in are very liberal.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But the liberals have gone fucking
Yeah, I
batshit
mean,
nuts.
I
So I
every-
can't
but
consider
even when I
myself a
talk
liberal
to,
anymore.
Even when I talk to liberals who are somewhat extreme, I keep feeling like they're not responsible for the culture we're in, because they're like, yeah, it's terrible. And then I'm like, some like crazy conspiracy theorist will be like, Rob, don't you get it? It's all bots. It's China. It's Russia. Who benefits? Even somebody
listen,
who's like, I'm even
I'll
saying
buy
this.
into that, too.
This guy's like a great executive in Hollywood, super successful cat. Looked at me and I'm like, oh, you think it's the bots too, China, Russia? And he goes, no, it's AI. It's artificial intelligence. They are the ones who benefit when we crumble as a society. And I'm like, all right, I don't know, but the shit is fucking weird and it's crazy.
It's all creepy, weird shit that's going on right now. And there's no doubt that some group, bots, aliens, fucking whatever the fuck's going on, are trying to divide us as a country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no fucking doubt about it. But I'll give you the perfect example. Like The Rock, who I'm obviously very good friends with, went out and did this whole thing with Biden and go with Biden and all this shit. I obviously was a Trump guy. I was on Air Force One flying to fucking here and there with him. You know what I never did? I never said to The Rock, the fuck are you doing? What's going on? That's
well, it's funny because I was
he's
actually
a
going to
grown-ass
ask you,
man with his own beliefs and his own, and this is America.
But you both
You can
love your
vote for
kids.
whoever the
you
fuck
both
you
love
want
your
to.
business. You both take care of yourselves. You both take care of your families. Your family guys. You love your kids. Those are the values at the core that are the most important. The human values, right? It's where we all kind of meet in the center. It's funny you mentioned that was your position with Dwayne on it, because I was actually going to say Ari Emanuel is obviously a pretty big Democratic supporter, you know.
He and I couldn't be any more opposite. He's had WME, IMG shut down since the day this thing started.
Right, but those guys are getting paid. They're just not in the office.
But we're in you know, the same company together. But he lets me run my business.
Right.
You know.
But just in terms of the politics, you're not getting in shit with him. He's not.
Never. We never.
Because it's called fucking respect and it's called decency,
100%.
It's just decency and respect. Look at I've always just been like.
You know how fucking stupid this is how stupid it is.
Guy,
it's like if I'm pissed at you for wearing shorts. Fuck you wearing shorts. I'm a pants guy.
I don't know. I've been asking myself.
I'm a pants guy. Why are you wearing shorts?
No, I want to be in the pants.
But that's how fucking stupid it is.
Yeah.
We're all fucking humans.
Yeah.
We're all Americans. We're all grown men. You vote for whoever you want.
Yeah, and just try to, and also just, you know, and again, like we're getting into like this kind of human convo, but I think if people just realize that there's nobody fucking perfect, and there's nobody who doesn't have some shit in their past or something like that. Just try to look at people and find the things you actually appreciate and respect about them and focus on that instead of this world of just tear down, rip down. I'm going to get trolled like a motherfucker.
Well, that's
this
what
shit.
it's all about, though. I mean, that's
this
why.
guy, this fucking guy.
When we were talking about The Rock earlier and about, you know, his social media, he's a positive guy. You know, there's so much negativity and so much bullshit on social media, and people just trying to fucking shit on each other. It's fun to follow. I like following very positive people who are always trying to do, you know, to move themselves forward and do good things and set out positive messages. I'm in the fight business.
Right.
Everybody hates everybody in the fuck. I hate fucking Oscar De La Hoya. He fucking hates me.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fight
that
business.
runs Showtime is a fucking.
Let's talk about the Triller
I hate
tats.
him. He hates me. The fight business is. I fight with people all fucking day, every day.
But what is going on with all the fighting within that business right now? That field with the Triller guys.
It's simple.
With this whole,
I can answer that. Dana, the UFC is the #1 combat sport.
Of course.
You're seeing all like Triller is a house of cards. It's Fire Festival. It's a 2021 version of Fire
it's just
Festival.
so much.
It's gonna go under so horrific. First of all, they lie about other numbers. I mean, they're going to be a documentary on Netflix in the next 2 years about the fall
Are they going to
of
be giving out
Triller.
cheese
It's true.
sandwiches
You're brilliant.
and shit like that?
This guy knows his shit.
Yeah,
yeah.
and they all want to try to.
Well, you
know,
gotta look at the company itself too. You know, what I
It
mean?
almost
So-
seems like a money laundering fuck. I mean,
It- oh,
the-
100%.
The shit that these guys are doing
And they all have
makes
criminal
no
pasts.
sense.
It's crazy, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the guy who runs it is
Yeah.
known,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
being a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
That's what
No,
I'm saying, man.
it's-
When you got doubts, you just got to research, the fucking company profile and who's on the board. Dana, we know we got to let you go, man. The fact
But
that
here's
you-
the other thing too. One more thing
Oh, you
about
can
that.
stay, man. You
When
can
you talk about the fight
Keep
business,
going, bro.
right?
Yeah.
Traditionally, throughout history, Aram hated King. King hated
Right,
Aram.
Right.
It's just.
Right.
It's just the business, man. Everybody hates everybody.
Yeah.
It's a nutty fucking business to be in.
I like the
That's so
business
true.
of hate, man.
That's so
You know what I
true.
mean?
And
But
listen,
at the end of the day, because I'm happy.
I know we got to wrap this up, but if you had to leave with one thing that just defines you, what would that thing be?
Fuck, I don't know, man. I love what I do. Super passionate about the sport and the UFC, and it's never been about money for me. It's been about the love of what I do, and that's why I'm still here. Everybody asks me, when are you going to retire? And what the fuck would I retire for?
What are you gonna do?
I stay in the best hotels
Yeah.
in the world, eat in the
Yeah.
best restaurants, and sit in the best seats
Yeah.
for the best fights on fucking earth.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, your work ethic is something.
Brother, just around, I gotta tell you, man, you inspire me, man, because I could apply a lot of the things you say to the business I'm in. But God bless you, man. Thanks for
Word.
bringing the fights during the pandemic. Thanks
you
for
for
making
bringing
a sport
sports
that
back.
I
Thank you for
actually,
coming to the
because I don't
crate.
watch
Yes.
anything religiously. I don't watch Jay Giannone. I don't watch anything religiously other than fights, man.
Thanks for having me. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Dana.
course.
Appreciate you.